Woohoo! Hey, welcome everybody to the Hex Token channel live stream today. Man, have we got some good stuff today. Hey, the price of Hex might be at 13.4 cents, but we've got lots of good news to talk about today. It's going to be pretty cool. And just as I said that, the green candle went up a little bit. How about that? That's not too bad. It's going to be good, folks. So I hope you guys enjoy some of the content today. We're going to be getting into it all. Of course, this is the Richard Hart Maxi channel. It's called Hex Token after all. We're talking about Pulsechain, Hex, and of course PulseX. It's going to be pretty cool. We're also going to touch base, obviously, towards the end of the live stream. We've got lots of topics. Let's see what we're going to do. Hex price. Then we're going to go into the Pulse price prediction, and of course from the big whales. And then of course we're going to get into a lot more. We're going to look at Hex stakes as well, the impact of Hedron and other things. We're also going to look at, obviously, liquid loans update for day 10 results, as well as live numbers. Hedron as well, we're going to check that out. And, of course, we're going to have a look at Pulsechain and the timeline and probably a few little items. So we're packed full of goodies today, folks. It's going to be really, really cool. Let's get into the chat. Let me just make sure that the audio is up and running. We've got a poll on today, though, before we get into it. Do you think it's time to accumulate Hex? And, of course, that means buy Hex before Pulsechain and PulseX launch. Plus, you're going to obviously get a copy of your Hex on the Pulsechain. And, of course, we've got 8 votes in there at the moment. So get in there and vote, folks. We'll check that out towards the end of the live stream. It's going to be a lot of fun, folks. A lot of fun for sure. Let's get straight into it. We know we don't muck around this channel. We just get straight into the content that matters. And, of course, let us go. Hey, we've got it's down now in the chat. Hex Token channel member and the foreman of the mods is in the house. So first, nice one, that one. And I started half an hour earlier today, so you will see my times change around for the live streams. And I'm trying to head towards 2 live streams about 12 hours apart. So I haven't started that yet, but I'm trying to get to that point. It's now it's got the money bags in the house, and we've got Hex Force as well. Let's do this. Woohoo! I love it. And Sandeep from Calcutta, India is in the house. Bull period is not so far away. I agree with you, Sandeep. I'm with you on that. Joe Blow's in the house says, I love the energy of the stream. Hey, Joe, appreciate that. Big shout out to you. And, of course, Hexerciser is in the house. What's up, family? And Charity's in the house as well. Good to see Charity there. Hello, Charity. Big waves to you. Very, very cool, folks. Let us get into the content. This is a pretty short introduction, but we've got lots to talk about. So let's go for gold on this. And here we are, folks. The price of Hex at the moment, 13.47 cents. Pretty good spot to pick them up. As I said to you, I've picked up 3 lots of Hex over the last maybe 3 or 4 days. So definitely I'm getting ready. I don't mind if it swings around a little bit, right? So that's cool. I'm playing the long game here for the Hex. And, of course, if I see opportunity in a nice little price range, it's a good place for me. Obviously, I feel that Pulsechain's coming up later. So we're going to Pulsechain timeline is going to be the last thing we talk about today. It's been updated. I've updated it, so it has got some date changes now. So taking into it, as we get the information in, we're going to change that Pulsechain timeline. And of course, this channel is unique to that. It's unique to be covering all that detail in one place. All right, so cool. Let us get into this. And there we are. So we're at the bottom of the Bollinger Bands on the hourly. But let's jump away from the hourly chart there. You can sort of see it's chopping around a bit. We had a large seller sell here. So that was the case. I think I'm going to pull that up, actually. Let me pull that up on the Wowbot. We'll pull that Wowbot all the way over as well. And, of course, you can see, I think we had that, 2 hours ago, 7.2 million Hex was sold on Uniswap. So that's what caused that price dip there. You can see that red candle there on hourly. That was due to that account. All right, cool. Somebody said that account actually bought some Hedron, but I didn't see that in the price chart, so I don't believe that was the case. Let's go to the daily and check out the daily price. And I'm going to have to change the whole diagram here because I really mucked around with the price there. So let's just pull all this down into a nicer price range, and I can pull it up. Just let me scroll to that. That's probably looking about right there. And we'll drag that down a little bit. There we are, folks. This is the daily candle. And, of course, all-time high there. We're basically 5.5 months through from our previous all-time high. Obviously, Hex is notorious for having a new all-time high at least every 6 months. And, of course, that means we've got about half a month to go to get a nice little price rally on to get that hit a new all-time high. So there we're half a month. We've got about half a month. So there we are. All right, so cool. And, of course, our all-time high back here on the 19th September. And you can see how many days that is. That's quite a few days here. 164 days since we had our all-time high on the price chart. and that's just the way it is at the moment. So let's actually get that rule out there, and we'll actually go to the top of the spike here. The spike is at 52 cents. I'm happy with that. There is a little bit of debate about what the all-time high is, but 52 cents is I'm perfectly happy with that price zone. Obviously we're down 73.74% at the moment from all-time high, so that's a pretty major correction. So does that mean that we're near the bottom? It's a pretty good decrease range for the bottom. So could very well be. Obviously, if we're in the poll there, we've got 13, 14 cents, and we've got 12 cents. So if we went to 12 cents, that would be 87% down. If we went to 10 cents, that would be 80% down, 80% down. And obviously, if we went to 8 cents, 8 cents there, that would be 84.5. So almost at 85% down at the moment. So at the moment, of course, we are down 74% at the moment. So that's a 10 percentage points difference. So it's pretty big there. All right. So is it time to buy? That's the question on the poll. And I think that's pretty fitting there. All right. So cool. We are in the support territory. So at the moment, let's just zoom this up here. And of course, we can see the bottom of the Bollinger Bands is at the bottom 5% of the price range. That's currently at 11.6 cents. And the top of the Bollinger Bands is at 22.3 cents. And the middle there, 50% mark of the price range is 17 cents. And of course, I think 16 cents pretty important next target on the upside. And of course, we do have support at the 12.6 cent mark. So that's where we've been bouncing off a lot of time in that kind of range, plus or minus 5 cents, half a cent. Sorry. So that's where we are at the moment. And of course, let's bring in our structure, and we'll pull that whole diamond back in there. Now, this chart only is a linear chart, only goes back to the 6th of May. I haven't got the log chart up, but we're going to pull the log chart up because I forgot to pull it up. So we're going to pull it up because it's well worth looking at it, because we are bouncing around the support there on the log chart. And so let's check that out. So at the moment, we've got this dashed line here. This is our long-term support here. We can see that we've hit it many times. And of course, this is what's protecting us from the TA point of view. And anyway, not real protection. Nothing's really protection, but it's where we're bouncing off from. Where we're finding support is a better way at 12.6 cents there. So cool. All right. So we'll see whether we bounce off that or whether we just start. It's never inevitable that you're going to go down and hit it, but it does give us a lot of areas of support here. Now, you got to remember that the fact that way back here in May 21, we were at 2.6 cents. So if you think about it from the positive point of view, from May last year, we are actually, in 300 days, more or 298 days, we're actually up 4x, so 400%. So still up 400%, and over less than a year, 300 days, that's a pretty good result, right? So you got to look at the positive as well. Obviously, the 74% pullback at the moment. Cool. All right. So that's where we're at the moment. Obviously, we want to break out of this resistance here. And that's somewhere like, 15, 16 cents, somewhere in that ballpark. And that could happen in the next couple of days. This is our downward resistance here. And that's our short-term one. But our bigger long-term one is this big solid line. And, of course, that's around about 20. By the time we get to it, it's going to be probably around about 22, 24 cents, somewhere in that ballpark over here. So that's kind of the target that we're seeing at the moment. So if we put in some little shapes, let me just find some cool little shapes here. Got little circles. Let us see where we're going here. And might put the little plus lines there. Bam. So we're trying to hit that one. And, of course, we copy that. And don't want to copy that one. Let's get rid of that. Let's copy this. And Control-C, Control-V. And, of course, they're terrible, these things. Terrible. Come on. All right, so let's take that one and let's move that around. You saw me select the other one, but for some reason it's defaulting back. Select that one. Now move that one. All right, that's better. All right, so somewhere in that ballpark is kind of where we're looking to get above there, and that would break this resistance line and break the bigger resistance line there that we're trying to break out through, and trying to get this nice big pump on there. Trying to get the big pump on. We're going to need some fundamental news at this stage. Because we could get whales moving early, but we really need some fundamental news. And those fundamental news, I don't consider a Pulsechain testnet 3 fundamental news, but that could trigger whales. It could trigger whales. Maybe not initially, maybe during it. The other thing, of course, is that we are waiting for the two big things I think that we're waiting for, the block height, and depending on how Richard signals that is definitely a pumpamental that would move the price. And of course, that's because everybody in that fork block would get the airdrop, and so people would be accumulating to get themselves qualified for the fork block. The counter to that, of course, is that Richard doesn't want anyone dabbling with, mucking around with liquidity pools, although I think that's unlikely. So we'll see what Richard does with that. The second part, of course, is that the actual mainnet. So those two, I think, are a given. The fact that they would move the price in a very rapid way up. So those are the two ones for sure. I definitely think Pulsechain testnet 3 would be good for momentum. And of course might give us some little price appreciation, but not the big price rise unless whales decide to move during that Pulsechain testnet 3 in anticipation of the market moving up, because that way they can front run the retail, and they're just at the moment they're just waiting to see where the retail is willing to sell out. We know that Hex is actually, even despite the price, Hex is actually getting scarcer and scarcer and scarcer, and we're going to look at that later on. But at the current buying scale, the sellers are winning out this stage, so we'll just wait to find the bottom. So pretty cool on that. Well, let's just jump away from that, and we're going to have a look at the DMI and see where that's going. So we're going to remove the structure there. You can see that the buyers definitely came back. So we definitely had some buy support, but the sellers are still in control there, and the momentum still in their favor at this stage. Obviously, this is what we want to see. We want to see the buyers move up here, continuing to move up, and of course we want the sellers here direction to keep moving down. We want the momentum. Momentum will probably pull back a bit. We want the momentum to stay up here over this yellow line, which is the 25 point mark. So we want, that's a kind of a confirmation of a trend, and at the moment of the trend is in the sellers one, which we can obviously see with the price action in the chart there. So that's cool. On the RSI, we got plenty of room. Obviously, with the selling dominating at the moment, we've got plenty of room for a bull market up. So once again, once we get some of those fundamental news, once we get a bit of a TA support here with breaking these resistance lines just in time, we'll do that. And of course, this big one here. So that's pretty much the price review at the moment. Let's have a quick look. Obviously, we had this whale, these accounts. Now, they're not necessarily OGs, Hex OGs. They could be people that have picked that up more recently, large volumes, and been speculating on the price. There are traders out there. I haven't actually, gone behind to see what this one is. But obviously, we have had a lot of Hex OGs. We got different types of Hex OGs. We've got ones that actually use Hex for what it is designed. They stake out long. And then, of course, we have some people that stake out, like a staking ladder. And then we have some Hex OGs that are staking short term. Of course, those are the ones we see in the big staking. They're staking short term, like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And then, of course, then we see we see Hex OGs with a lot of liquid bags, and they're just speculating on the price. That's all they're doing. But we've got rid of a lot of those people. But we still have, them around from time to time. And of course, they're looking at the market too, going, am I going to sell out here? Is a good time? And they're making all decisions just like we all do. So we've got kind of those four groups of Hex stakers. But as I say, I think the short-term ones and the liquid ones, we're getting less and less and less of those. They are being bought out of the market, and of course at lower prices. And that's always a better thing. But we've got lots of good things coming. So hold on to your hats, because I've got a Hex Scale news coming up. And of course, that's going to be pretty fun on the buy side. That's big buying, and it's going to be constant buying. So we'll look at that in a second. It's going to be pretty cool. All right, so let's have a look at the markets. Markets are doing brilliantly at the moment. The stock market pulled back again, but crypto has not. Crypto is looking strong. This is a very positive sign. And to be honest, it's a little bit of a surprise to the upside to me. And of course, ETH here almost about to go over 3,000. ETH was not going over 3,000 because apparently a lot of the leverage traders didn't want to take the risk on, given the uncertainty around Ukraine and financial markets. And of course, the FOM coming out in this month of the Fed Reserve. And of course, this actually looks like it's about to break 3,000. I said this earlier a couple of hours ago that I did think it was going to do that. We've got BNB moving up to 412. And of course, Bitcoin looking super strong at 44,400. It was 4,300, now 44,400. This is looking really good. Obviously, there's a big gap between 44 and 50. 50 is such a big gap to get over, but we know Bitcoin can do amazing things. And at the moment, I've been pretty impressed with this at this stage. But that 50K is a very real hurdle. One would expect it to go to 44 to maybe 47, 48. and of course, once it has a launch pad for 50, but it's still a long distance from here, despite the fact that we saw Bitcoin do a 5K, almost a 5K recovery a couple of days ago. So it's still looking really good to me. Pretty impressed. And this is while the stock market's actually was pulled back again. So that's pretty positive for crypto. And of course, obviously, we've got positivity around other markets. We're not going to get into them because it might be a bit controversial, but it's definitely been positive for crypto. All right, cool. So that there is pretty much the Hex price review and the crypto market review. Yeah, and we've got a poll on at the moment. When is the bottom buying? I actually think, we're not too far away. If it's not now, we're not too far away from it. As I say, we do have a lot of support at that 12.6 cent mark. And it's not necessarily inevitable we'll get there. At the moment, it looks like we will get to 12.6 cents. But we'll see what happens there. So at the moment, we've got the poll on 27 votes. We've got 52% saying 13, 14 cents. I think that's kind of seems like the case to me as well. So cool. All right, so we're going to get on to the next topic next, which is a big news about HexScale. But before we do that, let's get into the chat. Say hello. You like to me. After every topic, I like to go through the chat as best possible and keep up with that as well. Obviously, this is about the community as much as it is the information. Oswat says, "G'day. We'll be laughing at these prices in 2 years." Absolutely, Oswat. I agree with you with that. And in fact, probably a lot sooner than that, Oswat, for sure. Fish Tank says, "I'm not late. Had to restart my computer." I was thinking of you, though, Fish Tank. I was thinking of you, and I thought something may have happened there. Also, I started the live stream about half an hour earlier. It's a cool thing too. Japa Daddy says, "Hi, Hex Token question. Is it completely safe to claim for Hedron as it is read only? It does not affect the native hex stakes." That is correct, Japa Daddy. And if you want to watch the best video on that is actually by David Ferrer on YouTube. David Ferrer, so you can go watch that before you claim. But I think as I've heard that 15 out of the top 50 wallets have actually claimed for Hedron now. So yeah, it does a claim. It does get your stake ID. And it gets your stake. I can't remember the other one. The actual rank of your, sorry, the list number of your ID. I can't remember what that's called though. So it gets your stake ID and it takes that out. It only reads the contract. Dave Ferrer has actually looked at the contract and confirmed that it's a read only, as opposed to accessing, an unstaking feature and stuff like that. So definitely go watch Dave Ferrer if you're a little nervous there. It's always good to be nervous and question. But obviously Alex is a great guy, but of course he's not he's not somebody that so definitely go check that Dave Ferrer. But yeah, a lot of people have free claimed, as I understand it. 15 out of the top 50 wallets apparently have free claimed. I haven't seen that data. I just heard somebody in the community who's got reasonably good reputation say that. So there we are. Hex Dorsor said it's go time. Absolutely is. And it's now says cheaper to buy Hedron than claim on Mint. Says it's now. That's the other avenue that you could do. You could just buy it on the market. You don't have to interact with the contract at all. But obviously, if you've got a decent amount of Hedron to claim because your stakes are quite big, maybe you're one of the bigger Hex holders, then that's definitely something you want to think about there too. But don't forget there is a claim fee, and there's a claim fee and a mint fee. For each and every stake. And of course, at about 30 Gwei, the price was about $9, somewhere like that. At 20 Gwei, it's like $6, $7 for each of those transactions. So you got to make sure your Hedron times the market price is greater than that, depending on if you're wanting to sell it or just make it economic for later on. So you don't have to claim it, but we'll get onto that later in the live stream for Hedron. We're not going to cover it quite fully now. If we met Hedron, do we need to pay it back? I'm getting bloody confused. You do not have to get a payback. It's like an airdrop to Hex stakers there, Matt. So hopefully that helps you. Sam and SB's got all the rockets and emojis. Love it. And no need to pay anything back if you mint it. Yeah, it's kind of like a big airdrop. It is an experiment, and we'll see how it plays out. But so far, it's playing out pretty good. And I think there are probably quite a few people actually want to accumulate it. So even though there's last time I checked, there was eight or so trillion Hedron. It is getting claimed less and less per day, so we'll see how that goes out too in terms of the supply. Hex Dorsor says if you loan against it, you can pay it back. You can pay it back too. Yeah, there's that feature as well. Matt says, how do you we won't talk you're getting into Hedron. Hedron's for later in the live streams, folks. So I'm going to jump on all these questions until then. It's Nana says, I was not right on either. Was wondering if you were okay. Hex is deflationary, and I learn something new every day. Hex is deflationary. Hex is inflationary. It has up to 3.69% inflation, but it does have some deflationary aspects to it. That's the way I'd put that. PulseX is, do you think PulseX will do 1000X for an ultimate low? Well, we're going to get into that next, PulseX, and great name. I love your name. That's for sure. All right, so that's the next topic is PulseX. So we're going to get on to that, and we've got lots to talk about. Pulsechain, sorry, is what we're talking about next, 1000X. So it's not quite the same topic. Let's jump through some of this. Cyber Monk says Hex for life until 0. I don't care. I believe in freedom of movement. I like that. That's a good one there, Cyber Monk. And fish tanks in the house. What else we got? Dex, so I don't know if the loans are live yet. Assume it would be after releasing coins to Hex holders and those who encapsulate stakes. People would have it for free if they made stakes with it. Yeah. So I don't know if the loan feature's live, but certainly encapsulated stakes are. They've already had the first one sell at market rate too, which is good. Hey, Refine's in the house. G'day, Refine. Good to see you. Craig Wadding's in the house as well with the lots of emojis. I love it. And BGM is in there too. Keep hearing Hedron is on Uniswap, but it just isn't just checked again. BJM it is, and I'll post you the link in the video description. Then you won't have any problem. Just wait till we get to the Hedron topic, and I'll post that in the chat there, and you can access that. I also have the actual website. A link in the video description if you want to check that out, BGM. Marcus is in the house. When do you think the next big pump is? Also, g'day. Hey, Marcus, g'day to you. And we're talking about that in the chat now at the moment. So we're just trying to find the bottom of the market. And of course, that's what our poll is. So we'll see what everybody thinks and have an assessment of that later on. Pulsation says, hello, everybody. Hey, Pulsation, good to see you. Let's get into the next topic, folks. Got through to the chats there, so let's go. And, of course, everything is green, so it's a good day in the office. And, of course, here we are, folks, Hex Scale. Woo-hoo-hoo. Actually, I thought I was talking about Pulsechain, but we're actually talking about Hex Scale. Hex Scale, yes. Look at this. There's no more drafting on this website, folks. Look at it. It's different. Thanks. Achieve your goals. This has just happened today, by the way, just the last couple of hours. And, of course, earlier today, I watched Discord Syndicate, so this is where you can go, and I saw they talked about the future of Hex is great or something like that was the title of the video, and it had whales on there, it had Kinetics, had a lot of the usual people on there, and of course they gave their first update on the Hex Trust, and that was the fact that they had achieved their PPM, and that's kind of like their investment disclosure document for accredited investors. And, of course, it's a private trust, so for private investment. So that is super, super good news, folks. We all know that this is kind of the grayscale. It's similar to grayscale. It's not a competitor to grayscale. It is because it's actually around Hex. It's not around Bitcoin. But it is a mirror image, kind of. Not quite mirror image, but it is a copy of it. And, of course, it has its own little features to suit Hex. But it's pretty much going to accept money in, and then buy Hex on a large scale, and then stake that for 5555. The other thing, of course, is that people that invest their money through the Hex Investment Trust, at least at the first stage, which is privately, they cannot redeem that money. So they can only redeem the shares in the actual trust. So they can buy and sell the shares to move in and out of the trust, but they can't actually redeem or sell the Hex that was bought with their money. So it's pretty cool. The other thing, of course, is that it's going to be staked for 5,505 days. So it's pretty huge there. And of course, that means it's just going to be a big buyer, a new big whale buyer coming in, buying Hex and staking 5555. And that's going to be a beautiful thing. So really great news today, folks. So I knew maybe the price chart wasn't for some of you that are not buying Hex at the moment. Obviously, if you're buying Hex at the moment, you're happy with the chart because it's nice and cheap for you, relatively speaking. But of course, for those holding and you're wondering what's happening with the price, it's a real muddle. But the fact is that things are coming. We've been talking about on this channel that 2022-23 is the year of virality for Hex, and also the fact that there's big money coming into Hex, not only just from whales that we expect to come in, but also from trusts like the Hex Investment Trust. This is not the only one that's going to be in the market that we understand. There is also another trust that hasn't been named. Richard talked about that previously, and we'll talk about that later in the Pulsechain timeline. But the Hex Investment Trust, very, very cool. Look at this. It looks like it's pretty much live now. And of course, they said that there were 3 steps to achieve. And of course, the longest one is the legal work, getting the lawyers to do the right thing and process that in good time. And of course, they have had that ticked off. So tick off for the PPM, and that's absolutely fantastic. So basically, PPM is just an investment disclosure. When you are going to invest money, you have to have the disclosure for people to show them what they're actually investing in. So very, very exciting. So here we are. This is the title here: Crypto, Achieve Your Goals with Trustless Yield. Beautiful, and I love the website. So funky and cool, and yeah, it really is fun. And of course, we've got the investment trust is for accredited investors only. And of course, typically those are people with a net worth over $1 million and so forth. So anyway, we have also at the bottom of the page here, we have the Hex price chart. So it's pretty cool. And that's been there all the time. But this is brand new. Start investing. This has just been added today. So the first step was getting the PPM approved with the legal stuff. That took longer than expected. The second phase is obviously to receive money in. And the third phase is actually to invest that money and stake the Hex, buy Hex, and stake it 555. That's kind of the third stage here. So receive the money. So the other thing, of course, is that in November last year, Kinetics team talked about the fact that they had access to a $1 billion distribution. I presume that that's still in play. By today's talking, Kinetics was very bullish about reaching the private target. So imagine you're going to reach a private target and you're going to show that this product is successful, it is in demand. And of course, once you do that and that it works really well, you can then go and try and get it listed on a public exchange, and so that's going to be pretty cool. Could be NASDAQ, could be all sorts of different types of exchanges there. And that would open it up once it moves from a private to a public, open it up to IRA investing. So you can invest your superannuation, open it up to institutions, open it up to corporates, because they're not directly investing into crypto or altcoins or Hex, but they're investing through a trust, which is accepted a security investment. So this is a security. That unlike Hex, which is not a security, this is a security. And so that's how that works. So it's very, very positive, folks. This is Hex maturing into more of getting corporate access, high investment access, and it's a beautiful thing to see. So it's very exciting to see this today. And of course, they've got the start investing button out. Now, this website actually is a bit more than what Kinetics and Wales only said today. This is actually looking a bit more, a bit ahead of where they were kind of indicating, which is pretty cool. So we've got start investing. We're going to click that button now. Boom, let's do that. And of course, we've got some nice little funky little part there. And of course, this is for accredited investor. And this is different from the Mountain Crypto Advisory. There's a separate service, right? That's a different service. So that's already been up and running since the end of December. This is different from that. This is the Hex Investment Trust. This is like a Grayscale. It's going to take money in, buy Hex, stake at 555, and it's just going to do that pretty much forever. And as long as it keeps receiving money, it's going to keep buying and buying and buying. So pretty cool. All right, so the Hex Investment Trust for accredited investors only. Basically, you put your details in there. You also put in your home area there and phone numbers and stuff like that. You say whether you're an individual or non-individual. Your obviously business, education background, your net worth, partners, capital, co-assets there. So 5 million, 1 to 5 million, less than $1 million. So that's cool. Individual, obviously as well. Your income, a spouse. Do you expect to have income in the year? So the typical questions you get asked when you're going to be doing investments. And then, of course, you can talk about the advisor, position, and occupation. So in connection with my investment activities, I utilize the services of the following attorney, accountant, or other advisors. So this is where that network comes in. Access, typically if these people coming in through that $1 billion network that they talked about last year, this would be an example of that. Obviously, this is probably going to be open up to the Hex community, the Pulsechain community, and everyone else. If you qualify as a accredited investor, will be able to use this instead of buying Hex directly. You can push your IRA or something like that, or some funds into that possibly. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see that. So, or maybe not the IRA, but get my point. Business address, personal data, of course, and then of course you hit us to say I am an accredited investor, and of course under the Security Exchange Commission, and then of course you can say please acknowledge and sign and submit. So pretty cool. This is getting there, folks. This is very exciting. That's why I'm saying from many aspects, although the price of Hex is down at the moment, the supply of Hex is actually relatively scarce. It's only getting more scarce. and the fact that you've got potential big buyers coming in, it's going to be amazing this year. And of course, Pulsechain hasn't even launched yet, and of course, there's going to be so much more demand for Hex just through Pulsechain alone. It's going to be insane. We're going to get that retail virality, going to get the big buyers coming in. More billionaires are going to get into the game. We know we've probably got about 6 or 7 at least around at the moment. And of course, once they get in, maybe some of them are tipping their toes in, they start spreading the word. It's looking pretty exciting. You just got to be patient, trust the program. Most other cryptos do not have these things happening for them, right? Most of them do not have this stuff happening, and that makes Hex really elevates it up into that top gold pair, which we already know it is by design, and of course the growth that it's had, but it really puts it up near the top now. So this is really positive. So we're going to keep a close eye on these, but very exciting. We'll look forward to more information from Whales Only and Kinetics about this. They've got lots of stuff in store, and of course a lot of stuff we're going to find out over time when they're ready to talk about it. So we'll keep track of that. But that was big news today. I thought you guys might enjoy that for sure. And yeah, man, is that cool or what? That is a really good bullish, and I love the website. Actually, I really love this 3D thing. I don't know, that's just me. All right, so there's Hex Scale, folks. The big buying is coming in, and so if you don't actually pick up Hex, and there's not a lot of Hex around, we know that the amount of OG stakes that are short-term staking has decreased dramatically, and they're actually starting to break up and move out into further periods. We know that the ones that have unstaked and got liquid, they're slowly dissipating too. And of course, we know that a lot of people sacrificed Hex as well with the early end stakes into the Origin account or sacrifice account wallets. So you see a lot of demand, supplies being taken off the market. And of course, we've got new buying coming into the market. This is setting us up for a really nice run over the next couple of years. So very, very cool. All right, so that's looking good. Let's jump over to the next topic. Before we do that, let's get into the chat, make sure I'm up to date there. What else we got? HIT, that is a dope acronym. And Fish Tank says thumbs up, everybody. Absolutely. And let's have a look here. We got Human Hex Trafficker in the house. What up, family? Craig Wadding says hello, Pulsation. Nice one. And let's get through there. And Ryan says, we just need to DCA or dollar cost average. In other words, you buy a bit of X as the days go past. Stake and how onboarding users. I love that, Ryan. That is such a good message to everybody. You guys play a big role in spreading the word about Hex, Pulsechain, and PulseX. So get out there and do what you can. Ryan says, Hex is a great price for Hex Scale to begin accumulating and staking. That's the other side of it. Very good comment. So obviously, the Hex Scale will be loving this. They'll be trying to get as much money in as possible to get Hex at this price, because otherwise they might end up paying, if they miss the boat, other whales start buying in, the retail start buying, they'll end up paying at a much higher entry level, 50 cents compared to 13 cents. So the Hex Scale will be really keen to start getting money into the trust as soon as possible to start buying Hex at this price range. That way, when the market goes up, inevitably with Pulsechain and everything else, they will be sitting pretty with a lot of their lower cost average there. So exciting stuff. Really good comment there for sure by Ryan. All right, so cool. Let's jump through some of this. And Hex James says Hex is a steal right now. Absolutely is. And Ryan says amazing Hex Scale will deplete all the T-shares, buy or benefit the Hex price. We're going to talk about T-shares later. Hold on, fakes, later on. There's so many good stuff in today's live stream. You're going to love some of the insights. And of course, this is probably one of the best live streams we're going to be doing so far. And of course, wait for that later on, because T-shares scale will deplete all the T-shares, but will benefit the Hex price. It's so good. You watch that out later, folks. Hold on, because we're going to be talking about that. We've got some really cool insights, and that Ryan picked up some good ones there. Some really nice comments there from Ryan. Crypto Jack says, tickle that like and subscribe button. Absolutely. If you haven't subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. We've got so much good stuff coming up. Insights that you're not going to get on other channels are coming your way, folks. This is what we are focused on. We're focused on the core stuff, the stuff that really matters to pumping our bags. That's what we're covering on this channel. Tickle that like and subscribe. I love it. Gray says 34 Gray right now. Good time to buy stake Hex. Yeah, absolutely. Good time to do anything that you're going to do. We're around Hex, around Hedron, anything. Pulse, that you want to do it now. So Hex or Hedron. I said Pulse, but it's not really live yet. So Matt Highgate says, I always wonder why someone like BitBoy does not speak up more for Hex on his channel when he knows which hard personally it's had made dollars. Yeah, that's I think he's shifting slowly, Matt. He's doing less shilling, and he's trying to move his channel to a more, I guess, let's say, balanced point of view. And so I think he's stepping in the right direction. I think when Pulsechain launches, he's going to be pumping that a lot because I'm pretty sure he sacrificed quite a bit for that. So yeah, I agree with you at the moment. But hey, that's just the way it goes. People have egos too, Matt. People have egos. Nice. Humans at 34 grade to mint my first stake. Yeah, that's super cheap. So that'll be about maybe $10, something like that. If you're going to do mint your Hedron at the moment, it will be about that. And of course, if you're also going to do, if you've got a Hex stake matured, around 34 Gwei is a really good price to, reduce that cost dramatically from say 100 Gwei, which is, really high. So Hodl says, woohoo, DCA, what's up, Superman? Hey, Hodl Generation, good to see you. And I agree with your sentiments there. It's how many onboards does everyone here have? Yeah, that's the truth. So ask yourself that how many onboards you have. It's now says I have somewhere around 40. That's incredible. Yeah, I would say at least if you can do 2 onboards, you're doing a good job. And 40 is completely outstanding. So big shout out to this now. Justin Late says, Matt and Billy, hey, Matt, you've just arrived. We're only on topic number 2. We just finished topic number 2. And for Matt, we just covered the Hex price, and we've just covered the news around the Hex Scale. And of course, that's where we're up to at the moment. So then we're going to get on to the next topic, folks. Here we go. Topic number 3. Boom, boom, boom. Rack and Rochelle, the big Overwatch whale. His goal is to be one of the biggest venture capital firms in the world. And of course, he's pretty big already. And he's pretty much a dude that's gone from the streets to becoming a super wealthy. So he's got one of those fantastic rags to riches stories. Big shout out to Rag to Riches. He's got one of those stories, pretty cool. This was a comment that he made a while back. We covered this comment on the live stream. He's got predictions for Hex, $1.20 USD PE, so price to earnings, and of course PLS 12,500X. I mean, you guys got to love that from the all-time low, whatever that will be. So I don't think he knew what that was, but he's just kind of say once we get all-time low, just like we did for Hex, then we're going to have a big pump up from the all-time low. PLX 8,000X from all-time low, and no expectation of return or gain from any source. So that was his bullish things. He's super bullish. And of course, he just came out with a new tweet on top of that, and that is hot off the press. And that is he's got 1,000X minimum. He actually did a video yesterday. You can actually find it on YouTube where someone actually posted a little snippet of that. And of course, it's just like I meant in the video. And that's what he's referring to, the video on YouTube. You can find that if you want to check it out. Rack and Rochelle, Overwatch, Venture Capital. And of course, the number one sacrificer for PulseX. 1,000K to 10,000K is just insanity. And it will happen based on my projections. So super, super bullish there. And, like I say, 12,500X for PulseX from the all-time low, yet to be established. PulseX, 8,000X from all-time low, yet to be established. So pretty bullish stuff there. If there is not controversy of a mass scale, we will see 10,000X. In other words, if the community doesn't get too controversial with stuff, too negative, and of course stays positive, gets out there, then we know 10,000X is possible. But pretty bullish stuff there, folks. Amazing on the old pulse chain there. Woo-hoo-hoo! So cool. All right, so screenshot this, note it, date it, whatever floats your boat. This is an entire network. He's talking about Pulsechain. It's an entire network. That's why he's got capitalized there. Get our heads around the fact that Pulsechain is an entire network. I talk about it on this channel all the time with the old Richard Hart ecosystem diagram, and I keep saying it time and time again. I know most of you know that, but get the word out there because it is going to be insane. The first system state copy of Ethereum. This is going to be mind-boggling with the best tokenomics on the planet. And we're going to get into PulseX tokenomics next because I think there's some huge stuff that Richard's doing. And it was just about pulling it all together and trying to get better insights. I still think there's some questions, but I think we'll get those answered soon enough as well. So pretty cool. So nice one there. Feel bullish, man. This is coming. I would not, even with the Hex price now, we know how low is it going to go. I think we're kind of pretty close. But hey, no one knows the future for certainty. But I think we're, 12.6 cents seems like a pretty good defend line to me. All right, as we talked about before. So anyway, pretty bullish on the price. Obviously, we've got to have more patience. Pulsechain's not here yet. PulseX not here yet. We just have to have more patience. And of course, we're going to talk about the Pulsechain timeline at the very end of this live stream. It's going to be pretty epic. I started half an hour earlier because I knew I was going to be running a pretty long live stream. So there we are. Let's go. Right, so that's topic number 3, bullish price prediction from the biggest whale, Overwatch. Let's jump over to the next one here. And of course, here is PulseX. So this is topic number 4, PulseX. And of course, we're going to go through some of this very quickly. This is pulsex.com. And of course, you can see the fact that we've got the second PulseX incentive token. So obviously, we've got PulseX, and then we've got the incentive token for the liquidity pools, or pool farming, as it were. So we've got the Dow chooses which, let me just check from, in order to enhance PulseX success, another token will exist to further incentivize liquidity providers beyond the fees they're already making. When they become liquidity providers, they will receive LP, or liquidity provider tokens, that they can deposit into a yield farm. This is not named yet. Token is emitted with a decreasing inflation over time. So that's the important part, is basically it's going to emit inflation, but it's going to decrease over time. It's some people use models like they halve the amount of inflation per year. We don't know exactly what this is going to look like, but it's kind of, just think of the amount that you emit every year just decreasing, and it makes it more valuable in total supply as long as your demand's going up over time. So that's pretty cool. So that incentive token, we've got questions around that. We'll wait and find all about that. That's still a bit open question. Then, of course, we go down to the bottom here, and we actually get down to PulseX itself. So PulseX, we talked about the incentive token. We still got a questions open about that. It is going to be reducing inflation over time. And, of course, then we have PulseX. Of course, PulseX was sacrificed for. We got the total amount of PulseX at the very beginning, and we expect that to have a magical buy and burn and decrease over time. So the PulseX has got a 0.29% fee, which is on every single swap. So if we have $1 billion of trading from all the peers that are trading on PulseX, then we will get something like we'll get something like $600,000 worth of buy pressure there for the burn. All right, so cool. So 0.29% is the fee, is the total fee. This is less than Sushi Swap, Trader Joe, QuickSwap, and Uniswap. 70% of all trading fees could be distributed to liquidity providers. Now, this question is very important. 76% of all trading fees could be distributed to liquidity providers. Obviously, we've got to have no expectations of work with others. But the other side of this is, of course, the 76% of all trading fees. Could Richard break this up further? That's the question. So that's an open question there. Could Richard break this up, actually kind of decrease it a bit more, but actually just redirect it? And that's an open question. We'll see what happens in the future with that. So that's an open question. Just think about that. The 21%, of course, of this. So we're talking about the 29%. We're splitting it up. 76% of this 29% is going to be distributed to liquidity providers. But will all of it just go? That's going to be the interesting question. And 21%, of course, could be used to buy and burn PLX, and that's what we expected. So 21% of 0.29% is 0.06%, right? So that's how much. So 0.6% in percentage point terms is what we've got for the buy and burn. Now, so this is the question at the moment. So just remember these numbers in the back of your head, because we're about to go to talk about this in more detail. That's why I've gone through this, just to remind you of what we're talking about here. Okay, reducing its supply over time. So that's the big pumpamental that people were expecting. So I've got the headline, PulseX triple pumpamentals, and I'm going to explain what that means in a second. All right, so reducing its supply over time. So this is what everyone was banking. Then we saw, obviously, Richard posted a snapshot of PulseX staking. So we're going to talk about that in a second. 0.01% of the trade value goes to an address you must have no expectations of. So, okay, so that's fine. I just expect that address to cover costs, or to do possibly, maybe do airdrops possibly, but really just to cover costs is the way I see that, to possibly maintain the blockchain and things like that for development. All right, cool. So let us jump over. So keeping that in mind, 21% used to buy and burn, 76% used for liquidity. That is a total of 97%, right? 97%. Let's jump over to Richard's tweet. Obviously, this is what came out a couple of days ago. And, of course, this has changed things up, right? This made things, it was really cool, but it's also a little confusing, right? A little confusing. Because you were going to have PulseX and, of course, XPulseX. Forget the XPulseX. Basically, you get that. If you've got that token, or the buy and burn is going to go into that pool, and there'll be more Pulse growing in that pool. So every XPulseX token that you've got will be worth more in Pulse. So that's pretty much all it's a PulseX, sorry, that's all it's going to be. All right, so that's the cool thing. And of course, if we go to stake, we've got the staking here. Now, by holding XPLX, you are participating in PLX buybacks, which are using 0.7% of trading fees. Now, this 0.07%, that's not been seen before. We don't see that figure here. We don't see that figure in here. We don't see it. So that by itself creates a little bit more confusion. And of course, where's this coming from? That's the question. How is that actually relating, right? So we know that 0.06%. So this is the kind of thing. What is exactly is this fees here to buy back PulseX and send them to this pool? So we obviously know that there's a 0.07% of trading fees going to buy back PLX and send it to this pool. So that's an incentive. I love that. Okay, so just on the face of it, that's fantastic. So basically, it's going to do some cool things. So we're going to talk about what those cool things are in a second, but I just wanted to come back to here for this. Obviously, we've also got the farms as well. So people can stake PLX and PLS together in a pool. And of course, that's going to be based on the Uniswap version 2 model, which means they have to do 50-50 to put into the pool. And you're going to be able to take the LP tokens from that and put them in this reward pool. We know that it seems to be, we've got earned tokens here. It seems to be PLSX that's going to be earned. So in the farms, it's going to be a PLX that's going to be earned. And in the staking, it's going to be PLX that's going to be earned. That's beautiful. That's fantastic. And of course, that by people putting PulseX into the pools, it's quasi off the market, although it's tradable. And of course, that means they can't sell it because people are buying and selling it. But on the other hand, it also with the staking, which is hardcore staking, that takes stuff off the market. So this if we go back one more time, this is going to take PulseX off the market, and of course you're going to get more PulseX, which is great. So you're willing to stake it. That means you're a long-term holder, more long-term holder mindset, and then you're going to get rewarded with more PLX, and it's going to go to more long-term holder mindset type of people. Not everybody, but more likely to more people that are willing to stake are going to do that, because speculators are going to hold it liquid, right? They're going to go, I'm going to speculate on the price. Maybe in a week's time I'll go up 10x and I'll sell my bags, kind of that thing, right? So that's kind of going on there. So really cool stuff here going on. And this was a good surprise to the upside. So very, very cool. So this is the summary here. So we're going to take the summary of all these things that we've just talked about. So we've got a 0.21% of 0.29% is the magic buy and burn. And we still need a good breakdown of this. But basically, like on $1 billion, that would be 600K a day. And of course, so we take the buy and burn. This was the big pumpamental that we were expecting. And of course, on top of that, we've got to add PLSX staking, right? So that's really cool, because once we get actually a PLX off the market and it's staking, people can't sell it, right? People can't sell it, and that's pretty awesome. So they earn PLX, and their PLX is off the market. So that makes it more likely the price is going to go up. So we've got the buy and burn, price goes up. We've got the PLX staking, price goes up. So that's your two pumpamentals. Then we've got the third pumpamental, PLX farming, of course. And of course, looks like they're going to earn PLX for this particular pair, for the PLSX, PLS pair. What the other pairs earn, from this stage, it looks like they're going to earn the incentive token. So not the PLX, but the incentive token. So we're waiting questions about that, open questions, that's kind of thing. So there's our triple pumpamentals, folks. That is where I see it at the moment. That's the lay of the land at the moment as I see it. So let me know in the chat what you think about that. Yeah, we've got some open questions here. Obviously, we've got OA volumes. I don't expect anything to happen for those OA volumes that own the PulseX. I expect those just to stay inactive. But I mean, the OA is part of the feature and benefits of the ecosystem. It could use a PulseX to fund incentives. There's nothing stopping that. We have no expectation from the work of others, so anything's possible there. The other side, of course, is that we've got 0.07%, which was a new figure. Is that of the 0.29% swap fees? Is it from, or basically the 0.76% of the 0.29% LP fees, going to LP fees? Is that being redirected? So that's cool. So, this is the kind of numbers, what is it of? Or is it of the buy and burn, which is the 0.21%? So is it a third of that, basically, and a third of the actual buy and burn going to the incentive token for the staking reward pool? And how much is going to the incentive DAO? Obviously, the origin account is basically controls the incentive token DAO, the PulseX DAO. So that really can decide whatever it wants, right? So even though we get to vote, if we're holding PulseX, really we're nothing compared to the OA or the Sacrifice, wallets, which is kind of like a family. So it's pretty awesome. And then, of course, we've got the incentive token. We know it's going to be inflationary but deflationary over time. And, of course, is that just going to be applied to the other tokens? So there's a few open questions there. But in any case, I think that the way I see it heading at the moment is super good. Triple Pumpamentals. And, of course, you've got to trust the Richard Hart gamification. And, of course, my biggest issue with the incentive token is it's the last mile token. And, of course, even though it's inflationary with the deflationary aspect, it is actually facing some fundamental problems. And I think that what Richard's done with this is looking to solve a lot of that problem. So pretty cool, at least a good proportion of it as well. So I think that, yes, the buy and burn will be arguably less depending on where the fee's coming from. The 0.21% buy and burn stays the same, and the actual 0.7% fee is coming from the 0.76% a liquidity provider fee. That would be pretty awesome, right? So that would be even better. So we might actually have a buy and burn plus PLX staking actually accelerating the price pump. And of course, even more than just the buy and burn. Or we could have the fact that it could be even faster with the fees going back to the PLX and even faster. So we could actually have a factor of 2-3 times faster burn, not in a complete absolute factor, but we're just relatively speaking, that kind of addition adds on to it at different proportions. So it's going to be pretty amazing to see that. So that's kind of my wrap up there. I'm just trying to get my head around what is happening there. So it's a good way of laying this out on the land. So let me know in the chat what you think there. I think that it's looking pretty good. I think Richard's doing a pretty good job, because I don't think the devs would have been following Richard's direction after probably having meetings about the best way of solving this stuff. So I think it's pretty exciting. Let's go into the chat there, see where we're getting up to. And Craig Wadding says, so that's topic number 4, folks. BitBoy got the Lambo now and millions. He can relax now and still chill. That's right. He can just milk his views, lol, says Craig. Absolutely. And what else we got? Ryan says Bitcoin is pumping. We need to get positive. Let's say Bitcoin. Let's jump over there. Yeah, Bitcoin's looking good there on the Bitcoin. Nice. All right, so let's jump back to there. And wow, we got a human hex drop, mint and end stake. Mint and end stake. There are 2 different things there. Matt and Barley says, hey, it's snow now. I read, oh, my glasses are fogging up, says Matt. The Crypto Heartbeat says, thanks for being so consistent. Hey, Crypto Heartbeat, great to see you in the chat. And hey, similar, you're so consistent and you're doing some wonderful interviews, providing some awesome insights and content for the community. So we're big hats off to Crypto Heartbeat out there. For the vast majority, you're probably subscribed to Crypto Heartbeat, but if you haven't, go subscribe to Crypto Heartbeat's channel for sure. And Craig Wadding says, I like spaghetti. Just wanted Hex Token to say it. I like spaghetti. Yeah, I do like spaghetti. It's one of my favorite meals. In fact, it's probably my favorite. Spaghetti and meatballs. It's my favorite. The weird thing is that you go to an Italian shop and like a restaurant, and I think I've maybe been to one Italian restaurant that actually makes spaghetti and meatballs. All of them don't make spaghetti and meatballs. It's crazy. Yeah, so a bit weird. Anyway, it's a little pet peeve there. Nice one stuff. Let's get on there. Brennan says, g'day. G'day, Superman, and all says Brennan. Hey, Brennan, great to see you in the chat. And Craig Whaling says, I think there are more mats in Hex than T-shares. That's pretty funny. We should have a token there for T-shares. Matt and Barley says, Zaha, so true. I am the only one with the one T-share. Nice. Let's have a look here. Brennan says, Nomics predicts Hedron to 10 cents. Hope they're right. Thanks. Yeah, well, I think it's going to do pretty well. And oddly enough, given the fact there's so much volume out there, it's going to be probably do quite well. Craig, let me jump through some of these. And who owns liquid loans? Should I sacrifice? JI, yes, you can. It's still a pretty good rate. We're going to get onto liquid loans shortly. It's 2 topics away. Yes, and if you use the referral link in the video description, you register your wallet and you get a referral code, and then you can go and sacrifice, get your 5% bonus on top of your total sacrifice. So definitely, if you're going to do that, go do that. Basically, the sacrifice is you're not supposed to expect any expectations. It is run by CC and the Liquid Loans team. They're pretty doxed and pretty awesome, running the marketing really well. They're getting a ton of money sacrificing. It is very well subscribed. And of course, that bodes well, I guess, the fact that it's so popular. The other thing, of course, is that what am I saying? So the other thing is that the contract itself is going to run on the blockchain immutable. So it's going to run by itself. So there's going to be no team running a contract once it goes live about a month after Pulsechain launches. it's on its own. The team can do things with all that money behind the scenes. We don't know what they're going to do, but no doubt they're going to do a few things like set up possibly gateways, feet gateways, and things like that. So cool. I sacked for PulseX on day one. Hey, nice one there, J.I. That's a good move. And cool. Brennan says, you have set yourself up for your children, Craig. Let them get the family and legacy. Yeah. Nice. All right. Let me just jump through some of these. Charity says, do we know if there's a time commitment to PulseX staking or farming? No, there may be a little time clock. I didn't see one. So you may just be able to claim and withdraw without a time lock on it. I think staking or farming would be better. Well, I would say staking would be better, but if you are going to do farming, you'll do PLS, and then just recompound the profits in there. And if you get in there early, I think that's probably the best way to go. So yeah, I think yield farming at the beginning will probably be pretty good. Once the price settles down a bit as well, but yeah, probably be not too bad. Brendan says, B-Roots dropped a gem on us on Jekyll stream. If BTC crosses 200 EMA, microcaps will pump. This was true in 2020 after the COVID. Yeah, nice one, Brendan. Good insight. Matt and Barley says, are you getting subscribers for the Kiwi accent or the tip-top news? I don't know, Matt. I don't know if this Kiwi accent. Hey, g'day, mate. How you going? I guess the Kiwi accent's relatively rare. They're only, I think there's about 5.3 million Kiwis or something like that. There's not that many of us. And, of course, probably a third of the population doesn't even have a Kiwi accent. So that's the way it goes. Shane says, are you bullish on Power City? I think Power City is okay. It's not. I'm not bullish on it like I am on liquid loans. But I'll talk more. Actually, I'll talk more about Power City on another live stream. We're going to keep to the topics today, but I'll put that on the map there, Shane, to talk about. But Fish Tank says, what purpose does the incentive token have if staking earns PLX? Well, it would be for other liquidity pools, is my guess, Fish Tank. Francie's in the house. Hello. And a cheer, bro, says Brennan. And a nice one. All right, so let's get on to it, folks. Let's jump over to the next topic. Woohoo! Yes. Liquid loans. Rock. This is super popular. Now, there is a question, of course, is what is the right level to capital raise? How much revenue is going to go through a liquid loans platform? So there are questions like that are pretty interesting here at this stage. But I think that we're probably still in a pretty safe range in terms of dollars. And, of course, the pulse chain goes up and to the right. Then the loan values that will go up onto liquid loans will go up and to the right as well. They get bigger. That means bigger fees. And of course, that would bode well. We also know that we're probably getting about 30, maybe 35% of loan tokens will be instant up front. And of course, that they're the only ones to be able to earn interest in, earn PLS and USD L on the platform. So it's going to be fascinating to see that play. I think it's going to be super successful platform. And presumably, although there's no expectation for the work of others, that quite a bit of the sacrifice hopefully will be used for marketing. And of course, the team is very good at marketing. We've seen that straight off the bat. I think that, it bodes well. It's going to be interesting. A lot of open questions. It is a high risk, high return opportunity. Let's put it that way. And yeah, so it's going to be fascinating to see. There will be a very low to no competition to start off with. Meaning liquid loans will pretty much be the bank or lending opportunity at 0%. Obviously, the only cost or interest is the fee for taking out if you're going to actually put PLS in there. Obviously, if you've got loan token, you don't even have to put PLS in there and get loan tokens out. You don't have to pay any fees. You make fees off others. There's always lending is one of the biggest financial DeFi opportunities, and on Pulsechain, this would potentially be very, very big. So we could see some huge lending numbers going through, so yeah, let's see how we go. We could easily see possibly billions of dollars going through this lending platform. So that would be a lot of fees. So that's definitely a possibility. So we're going to watch out and see how that goes. Obviously, today is day number 11. And day 10 finished last night. I did a special live stream last night because it was just too good to miss. And of course, here we are. This is where we finished yesterday. On the end of day 10, we finished at $41,255,000. We had 7,638 wallets. Now, I understand that this is pooled wallets, so we actually probably had more like 11 or 12,000 wallets. On top of that, of course, we had at least one or two pools, including Magic Carpet Ride. And of course, that took number one spot. Was pretty amazing to see that. Better Hex Goldwell out for day 10 anyway. And of course, they have many people sacrificing in there. So there could be something like 15 to 20,000 wallets or individuals in the sacrifice is probably my guess when we add all those factors up. And of course, that bodes well for people not only going to put their loan tokens on the platform who have invested, but also potentially going to use it and also spread the word without even any marketing, spread the word on that. But yeah, I think it's go pretty well. I would also, hopefully a good amount of this money will be used for marketing and other stuff like that. Is the number one thing. Once you get the platform up and it's running immutable, even though there's no expectations of the work of others, you do need, that people to get the word out there. You need adverts and other stuff like that. And so it's going to be interesting to see what the team actually does have in store, even though there's no expectations. It's going to be pretty cool. The other big thing, of course, we hit 1 trillion loan tokens. 1 trillion loan tokens. Remember, about 35, maybe 35%, something like that will be instant. And a lot of it's going to be delayed to the end, 2 years' time. So they get a lot more loan tokens, but they're not coming out until the end. So it's pretty fascinating too. So it's going to be a bit of a mixed bag, but 1 trillion was pretty amazing. And they kind of hit almost at the same time. It was pretty interesting. Obviously, the price is about 0.04. So it's kind of the price for the loan token based on that. You just take the dollars divided by the loan token, get your average there. End of the stake phase, of course, 20 days later. And of course, we're well into day number 40, day number 11 now. So pretty cool. So that was exciting. I posted it on Twitter. And then I also posted the top 10 just for posterity. I posted the top 10. The big news, of course, was the Magic Carpet Ride team. Man, oh man, unbelievable. They did $8.6 million worth. This is twice as much as they sacrificed for the PulseX, where they came in ranked number 21. They did have twice the amount of money. And of course, they've come in ranked number 1, at least by day 10. I haven't checked the numbers. We're going to look at the numbers live in a second. And of course, here's the Hex Godwire sitting at number 2. This is a big deal because the bigger pays better multiplier between 1 and 2.5. This got the Hex Godwire lost it yesterday. I haven't seen where they're placed today, so we're going to check that now. And of course, the Magic Carpet Ride team had taken over, and this is a massive difference. This is about $2.6 million higher, and that means that the Hex Godwire have to respond pretty seriously. And we do expect the Magic Carpet Ride team to keep sacrificing as a lot of the smaller retailer sacrifices come into the pool and want to keep sacrificing in the early days. So it's going to be pretty fascinating to see that play. We also saw number 3 whale come in, $1.6 million. That came in as well. Pretty big deal. And of course, we ended up with 5 millionaires. And we also had a couple of bigger players here too, 830,000, 708 also increased into there as well. Also, the minimum increased as well. It actually ended up being about, I think it was $7,000 was the top 50 wallet. So you had to get top 500 wallet. Sorry, top 500. You had to get over $7,000 to get in the top 500. So that was pretty interesting as well. But the bigger place, better multiplier was eaten up by these big whales big time because the amounts of US dollar sacrifices versus everybody else was so big. So those were the highlights for the end of day 10. And of course, after day 10, the earlier pays better multiplier or bonding curve went up by 5%, which means basically you went from about 10,000 loan tokens for $1 to about 9,523, I think it is, per dollar. So it's a big drop, almost 500 loan points per dollar drop. So it was a big deal. So that's the highlights there, folks. I had to bring that up. Let's go check out the live results that are currently on day 11. And of course, here we are. Let's refresh this. Let's go back here. So you've got the total at the end of day 10 was 41.2. We're now at 42.4. So pretty cool. What's that? 1.2 million? Yeah, we're about 1.2 million higher at the moment. So pretty good. That's so far today. So it's still been accepting some pretty big sacrifices to get 1.2 million. Pretty amazing. Now, in the lead up, the first 6 hours in the lead up before day 10, we were getting $1 million sacrifice per hour. In the last hour that we did the live stream, there was over $2 million. Can you believe it? Sacrificed in that day, and I think it was about 2.5 or something, maybe even higher. It was pretty amazing. So a pretty big deal there. All right, so we're at the moment 42.4 million, and we've got 7,970 official wallets here on here. Like I say, if you add up all the wallets, they're probably more like 15 to 20,000, something like that. With the pools and with the actual drawing the proper wallets. Pretty cool. We're up to 1,033 billion loan tokens. And the total there, we've got 19 days and 7 hours to go until the end of the sacrifice period. It runs over 30 days. And of course, there's 7 hours left of day 11. So pretty cool. Now, obviously, if you have sacrificed, you can pop your address in here and you can search it there. And of course, it will show you your details there. Let's got the top 500 wallets. Let's see here. So there's been no change so far in the leaderboard here. The leaderboard has stayed pretty much the same in the top 10 since yesterday. The Magic Carpet Ride team is still leading, and they have not yet done a sacrifice for today. They may do it later. They've got 7 hours to go, so they'll probably just keep waiting there to do it. I suspect that they will do a sacrifice every day, so they get the earlier pays better bonus before it goes up by 5% now. So you should see a sacrifice from these guys every day, and that's going to make it harder for the Hex God Whale to sacrifice. If the Hex God Whale decides to sacrifice, they may say, well, I've got a pretty good position. I could, if I sacrificed a couple more $1 million, I could beat out these guys, and get the bigger plays better multiplier, which is a big deal. So obviously at the moment, the indication on this party site is a third party site, but it says somewhere between 2.2 and 2.5 is going to the Magic Carpet Ride team, and the biggest paid better. But the Hex God Whale has dropped down now to something like 1.98 to 2.2. So that's a big difference, right? That's a big difference on the longer pays better bonus here. So that's a pretty big deal. Now, obviously, they control pretty much a big amount. So that there is the top 50. And not a lot of change there. Let's have a look here. $8,000 now. So yesterday it was $7,000. Now $8,000 to get yourself in the top 500 at the moment. And of course, let's check that out. This person here has got 101 million loan tokens. So let's actually have a look at their account there. They are getting them instantly. They have not got a longer pays better bonus. And of course, you can see that longer pays better bonus is 0. This is the number 500 spot. They got the 10 points. And they got 80 million, is the amount of loan tokens they're going to get. So pretty cool as well. All right, cool. At this level, at $8,000, given the way that they've sacrificed on day 10, their bigger pace better multiplier is 1.27 for $8,000. And of course, that's pretty cool. So there is the wallets. Let's jump into the totals. And you can see the totals have really dropped off on the increase. Yesterday was so spectacular on day 10. We jumped from 28.4 million up to 42.2 million. Is that crazy or what? 28 and we dropped up to there. So 10, that's 12. So in one day, $14 million in one day on day 10, $40 million increase. Amazing. And of course, so far today, we are up about, what did I say? We're up about 1.3 million today, 1.3 million. Pretty cool on day 11. Right, so day 11 is not finished yet, though, 7 hours to go. But here we are at the moment on Binance Smart Chain. We've got 37 million has sacrificed on Ethereum and 5.6 million on Binance Smart Chain. And let us have a look at this one here. Now, this is the longer pays better bonus. Remember, there's 3 components. Earlier pays better, bigger pays better, and longer pays better. Longer pays better has been a huge success. It has totally changed the game here, having 3 mechanisms for your sacrifice. We've got almost $16.8 million sacrificed for 24 months. In other words, this supply, they get a 2.5x or 150% more loan tokens for delaying their gratification, but they don't get to put them in the staking platform for the loan token. So they're not going to earn the USDL and the PLS fees. And of course, we expect that to ramp up really fast at the beginning. So it's going to be crazy to see how you outdo the long-term sacrifices based on the fees that you're going to earn per year. It's going to be really fascinating to see that play out. So there's a trade. There's a unknown there. Pretty cool. Obviously, there's people that have got their delayed sacrifice all the way through here. We call this the sacrifice ladder if you're going to sacrifice on multiple occasions for different periods of time. And of course, you'll kind of average out your bonus there. The max bonus is 2.5x, 150%. All these people get at the end. So every month that you delay, so the month 1 here all the way through, you get 6% added on. So 3 months candle here would be 24%. 6 month candle would be 36%. 9 months candle, of course, or the 12-month candle, I should say, will be 12 times 6, so that's 72%, and so on all the way on to the last month. You get an extra bonus. It's not 6% for the month. You get 12%. And that would give you, 150% in total. So pretty amazing stuff there. You can see these are the popular ones here. The candles, 3, 6, 12, and 24 months. People are delaying the gratifications there. So 16.7 million here. And of course, we've got 16.1 million that want their tokens instantly. These are the people that will be able to put them on the staking platform, start earning the fees instantly, PLS and liquid loans. going to be pretty cool. USDL, I should say, pretty interesting. Now, not all of these will probably put them on the platform. Some of them will just speculate on the price, hold them liquid. But I suspect a fair amount of this will probably end up in the platform there. It's going to be fascinating. Obviously, if you're an investor there, you're going to want to see it ramp up. So it's going to launch maybe a month after Pulsechain. You want to see that ramp up on the old liquid lines. Cool. All right, so nice. And of course, the number of wallets. Obviously, we've got some big ones at the top here. And of course, we've got all these big candles. So there's basically 1,700 wallets that are less than 2,500. That's kind of under 5,000 is 543. There's kind of the small retail investor. And then, of course, maybe under 10,000, 7,500. We've got another 400 wallets. It's kind of the middle size. That's kind of like I would call the sort of entry level retail, like a decent retail investment. And then, of course, above that, we've got 285 under 25,000. That's kind of a middle size retail investor. And then under 50, we've got 65 wallets. So we're starting to get into that higher bracket retail investor there. So interesting stuff there. Cool. All right, nice. Let us see the total tokens. We've got the Magic Carpet Ride team will control 23.29% at the moment. And, of course, the Hex Godwell, 20.77%. Those are the two big ones there. Sacrifice points has just gone up. We're on day 11, so you can see it's just starting to rise. So today, $1 will get you 9,523 loan points. So pretty cool. And it's just going to get tomorrow in 7 hours' time. It's going to be worse. It's going to be 9,070. So it really starts to hit hard with that 5% rise. On day 30, it's going to be the last day, March the 20th. You're going to get 3,768 points per dollar, and that's for the earlier pays better bonus. So there's three bonuses: earlier pays better, bigger pays better, and a longer pays better. Longest pays better is the one that you can really influence and offset this to some degree, obviously, depending on whether you're going to do that or not originally before day 10. All right, cool. We've got there's another way of looking at it, of course. You're just going to get less points per dollar as well. Hey, just got the cat walk in. Hey, cat, nice to see you. Cat's walked in, does his own thing. He's trying to get through the door, but the door's locked. That's not going to happen. So that's the live results, folks. Woo-hoo-hoo. Pretty good, eh? Nice. Yes. All right. So that's topic number 5, I think. We're going good today, that's for sure. And let's get into some of the chats before we get on to the next topic. Next topic is Hedron. So for those that everyone want to talk about Hedron, we're going to talk about that now. Just onboarded a mate with $500 with a 5-year hex stake. Nice one there, Brownie. And that's T-shares. Matt says, I did 1,000 USD for 13 months and 1,000 USD tether for 22 months. Got my 70-year-old mother also 1,022 months. Let's roll. Well done, Matt. And to your mother, all the best. Charity says, I'm all in on PLX, and liquid loans, but sacrificed a tiny bit for Mintra. Hey, nice one there, Charity. I knew you wouldn't be able to resist that one, Charity, for the NFT marketplace that Gerardo's involved with. So cool. Well done to that. Matt and Barley says, woohoo, nice. Yeah, nice for sure. In fact, we'll probably quickly check, now that we're talking about the Charity about that, let's quickly jump out. We'll have a quick look at Mintra, and let us get into that. I got to remember that I was going to post the Hedron chart later on. So Hedron here. So Mintra is at 8 million. And of course, the big news there, I think it was yesterday or the day before, we had the Hex Godwell sacrificed $4 million for that. And of course, they dominate. All right. They control 60% of the Mintra tokens. So they're a big believer in the NFT platform. So it's going to be pretty crazy. 1.4 billion mint tokens so far. And they've got 11 hours to go until the curve starts rising up. So if you are going to sacrifice for that, your best rate starts, you need to get in the next 11 hours on this one as well. So cool. All right, nice there. And let's jump away from this. Now, this site is hexpulse.info, hexpulse.info. If you want to check out all the sacrifices yourself, definitely check that out. Boom. So the cat's going around in circles for some reason. Can't make up its mind what it's doing. Let's get to the Hedron price. That's the Hedron price there. So check that out before I start talking about it. Matt and Barley says, woohoo, nice. And congrats, Charity, absolutely. Craig says, I'm good on PulseX, placing small bets on liquid loan Mintra and Hedron, not a financial advice, lol, absolutely. And I'm not going in on any projects, but I have faith in the founders, yeah. It's very important that you know who the founders are, that they're doxed. You also have to take into account the likely success of the projects. Don't just blindly sacrifice just because everybody else is. You really need to, think about that. Cool. I'm really talking to the people new to crypto, not the people that are pros. That's for sure. We've got a few Russian bots in the chat. Hopefully some mods are dealing with those. Nice. And Dean, a future whale, Craig. I'm not sure where I'm up to there. All right, so we've got Craig's with the emojis, looking good with the whale. And what else? We'll jump through some of these. Let's go here. Charity says Magic Toshi Ride. Those guys are great. Yeah, they're pretty nice guys. I love the cigars too. One of the guys likes smoking the cigars. Human Hex Traffic says we are all the Godwells. Nice one. And let's have a look here. Let's have a look on the Hex price there. Hex is at 13.47 cents. So cool. Let's jump down here. I'm just trying to jump through some of these. Brownie says looking forward to the Hex token party in New Zealand post Pulsechain. Yeah, nice one. And Matt Barley says Hex been making shrimps into whales since 2019. PulseX, nice, since 2022. I like the forward thinking there, Matt, for sure. Craig says may have to take a trip to New Zealand once I retire. Stop in Bali on the way and make Matt buy me a beer. Yeah, got to get a Bintang beer from Matt and Maria, that's for sure. Nice one. And I am from New Zealand too, says Matt. Christchurch, then Wanaka. Yeah, Wanaka's pretty nice there, man. Wanaka's one of the great places for sure in the South Island. Smash the likes, says Brownie. Absolutely. Christchurch is in New Zealand, right? It is. It's in the bottom of the South Island. It's kind of, they say it's like the most, well, previously before it had the earthquakes, had 2 earthquakes. They say it was the most English town outside of England, they would say. Matt and Barley said smash the likes for a free Bintang. Screenshot it and show me in Barley. I love that, Matt. That's really cool. Well done. I'll be clawing for that Bintang, yeah. Hope they taste good. Hope the Bintang beers taste good, that's sure. Yeah. Matt says, yeah, born there, wrecked in the earthquake 2011. That was the last time I left and went back to Oz, living back and forward. Yeah, so a lot of the old buildings had a lot of beautiful old English buildings in Christchurch. Made out of these beautiful old brick buildings, really lovely. And I think a lot of them got taken out, including the big Christchurch Cathedral tower as well, which I actually went up. I've actually been up there. It was pretty cool. Really makes you feel like you're going back in time, like 200 years as you walk up the steps. It's just like crazy. Like that's really quite an interesting experience. We can't do that now, though, because the tower fell down. We will be the new Wales or maybe Krusty Krab, maybe. Yeah. Let's jump through some of this. I think we're almost up to date. Francis says hello, and it's the Godwell that sold me, says Charity. Yeah, a few people had got more confidence when the Godwell followed, but once again, do your financial due diligence. We've got the poll on, folks. At the moment, 86 votes. Let's see if we can get over 100 votes. Do you think it's time to accumulate by Hex before Pulsechain and PulseX launch? Plus, you're going to get a copy of Hex, of course, on Pulsechain, PRC copy. And, of course, get in there and vote. We've got 86. Let's get over 100 votes for sure. And welcome, everybody. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, and have a lot of fun. We're getting on to the next topic. Here we are, Hedron. This is kind of like an airdrop for Hex stakers, if you're Hex staked. And, of course, you get paid out on Hedron for the amount of days served. So the more days you've got served on each individual stake, the more you're going to get paid as an airdrop. This is an experiment. We just don't know what's going to happen here. That's the first thing, is that it's kind of like an airdrop. You can claim and mint. At the moment, for the first 10 days, there's a 10x bonus that goes down by 1x every 10 days for the first 100 days. So after the first 10 days, it's going to be 9x, and then so forth, goes down to 8x, etc. every 10 days. So take that into account. The other thing, of course, is there are 2 other main features. There's going to be borrowing, and of course, there's also going to be, encapsulated stakes, minting NFTs, where you'll be able to trade out of long-term stakes there. So pretty cool. Those are the kind of 3 things. We're only really talking about the claim and mint functions. You can do them separately or together. And if you mint them, you're going to get the Hedron to your wallet. And you need to make sure, obviously, there's going to be some gas fees for both the mint and the Hedron. If you can get a Gwei at around 30, it's going to cost you around about $10 to do each of those transactions. And obviously, if you've got a certain amount of Hedron you're going to get, you times that by the price of Hedron. That will be your revenue, less your cost for claiming them, and then you'll have kind of your profit, and you can either sell them or just speculate and leave them there and see what the market does. At the moment, the market's actually looking pretty good. So we bottomed out down here at 6075, I think it was. 60, I think it was 75. Let me. So stay, yeah, 6055. So that's US cents. So 0.60553 is where we bottomed out there, and of course we've moved along there, and then we had some big pumps. So people trying to accumulate it. There is a ton of supply. Don't get me wrong, but it looks like a lot of people are just sitting on them. As we know, that most Hex stakers are long-term stakers, so maybe they're just not bothered sellers, going to see where this goes, and so there's not a lot of selling pressure that one would expect. And of course, there are 3 different trading pairs. There's USDC on version 2, version 3, and then there's a Hedron Hex pair. I'm not sure if there's any others, but those have been the 3 pairs that I'm aware of at the moment. So this is the trading one here. I'm going to copy this into the chat here because I promised that I would. So if you're wanting to buy or sell Hedron, you can do that here. You don't actually have to interact with the Hedron contract. You can just buy Hedron off the market, so you don't have to actually mint. If you're worried about interacting with the the read contract, even though it is a read only, you can just buy Hedron. That's one way of getting involved. Charity says 70 people watching. Please get the likes out, word out, and share this content that Hex Token spend so much time on. We have to. A nice one, Charity. Appreciate that. Blue J fan says, do we know when the Pulsechain snapshot will be taken? We do not, but we're going to talk about the Pulsechain timeline at the end of this live stream. It's the last topic. We'll get into that though, Blue. Nice one. All right, cool. Let us jump over to, let me just, I'll just hide that at the moment. And of course, let's get in here. So the price is holding up pretty well. Look at this. I mean, it's done pretty well. And when it was at 501, you could get 1 billion Hedron, which is a pretty big amount, right? You have to be a pretty big hex taker to get 1 billion Hedron. And of course, that would cost you $1,000. So it gives you a bit of perspective if you're doing that. So pretty cool. And at the moment, it's higher than that. At the moment, it's 501,729 US cents. This is performing pretty well. We know that on the first day, I was watching the first day, it was as high as 5051, which is actually pretty valuable. Makes your Hedron pretty valuable. Obviously, a few people saw it was very valuable, and they sold it down. And what happened? But the market's starting to really recover, and it looks like it's it's hit this period of where it is at the moment twice now. So pretty cool. This is the 4-hourly candles, by the way. Let's have a look at the daily. Daily's not going to be many. Look, we're only in day 5 here. So not many candles in here at the moment. So actually even looks better here on the daily candle. 3 days, it's pretty much sitting here. It's early days. It's an experiment. There's tons of Hedron in supply, trillions. I think last time I checked, it was over 8 trillion or so. It's probably a lot more. Let's actually, I think we've got the contract here. Is it going to open up? This might open up Ethereum. Yep. So, oh boy. Okay, so there's 11.2 trillion. 11.2 trillion Hedron has been minted. I understand that I heard somebody that had a reasonable reputation in the community say 15 out of 50 of the top hex takers had claimed. We've definitely got 11.25 trillion here. That's a pretty big number. And I imagine that a lot of people are just sitting on it and going to see how is Hedron going to go. So as the price moves up, potentially, if there's not a lot of people selling, just going to see how it goes. They may wait and see, and we may get more buy pressure as the price moves up. Some people are seeing it. They, talked about maybe this is like Hex. Maybe I can get 1,000x, 100x. I think there's a lot of volume. I'm not so sure how. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. But you think about Hex at the moment. We've got 638 billion X. Here we've got 11.25 trillion Hedron. So it's going to be fascinating to see this. It really is cool. Alex, of course, the developer, seems like a really great guy. And, of course, obviously very smart putting this together. So we wish it the best for sure. You as a hex staker, of course, can get a claim to get the 10x bonus now. You don't actually have to mint the tokens. And, of course, this is where you go to do that, of course. Here on the Hedron place here, hedron.pro, the link's in the video description. And you've got all the details here. It's got a beautiful little flow chart. It's very simple. If you think about it, there are 3 functions. And so each function on this is in a different color. You can borrow in advance. So you see it's got locked on at the moment. You can tokenize a hex stake, basically encapsulate it. Imagine having a jar, putting a hex in it. And then, of course, that jar's got special features on it. That's kind of the way it does. And you can sell as NFTs, that sort of thing. So pretty cool. The main thing, of course, is what I've been talking about on this channel is the fact that you can mint it. It's kind of like an airdrop. And, of course, all you have to do is if you've got a native stake basically means you've got a stake that you made through go.hex.com. And, of course, you can do that. I understand also there is a procedure for doing it through Staker app as well. I don't have that link, but I think if you go to Staker app, I think they have a little video on it or something like that. There's definitely a video on YouTube using Staker app, so haven't gone into that myself. All right, so cool. And so native stake there, and of course you can mint Hedron. And of course, there's a launch phase bonus that runs for the first 100 days. We're in day 5 now. So if you want to get the 10x bonus, you should claim your stakes. And of course, the ones that are economic in particular, that in other words, you're going to make a profit out of, then you want to do it because obviously it's going to cost you about $10 to claim. You can mint the tokens later on. So if the price goes up, 20x and you want to take some profit, then you can mint them and sell them is the way to go. There's also going to be a special bonus here, advance to mint ratio. I don't expect that to happen for a long time if it ever does. And of course, that's if we get people borrowing, I think it's more than 50%. And of course, that bonus will only last for a day. So you got to be, keep your eye on it to make sure if it does ever happen in the future that you could claim that. Now, I understand that Dave Ferrier, who's a very well-liked person who's going to be doing a public validator on the Pulse chain, is just holding on. He's waiting for that advance to mint ratio. He's not minting them yet, but he has definitely claimed his stakes. Pretty cool. And obviously, you can if you do mint your tokens, you'll receive your Hedron into your wallet. So let's jump to the DApp, of course. This is the place where you register. You basically connect your wallet on the Ethereum blockchain. Now, there will be a copy on Pulse chain, I understand, so it's going to create even more interesting dynamics. And you basically connect. Once you do that, of course, you'll see your stakes at the bottom here. It'll be in a row here, and there'll be a button on the right-hand side, which will be actions. And under the actions, that will have two functions, claim, and it will have a mint, okay? It is read-only, so just basically going to pull up your staker ID for your stake, and, of course, the list rank, I think. I can't remember the exact name, but I think it's the list rank of that stake, and that way it pulls up. It just reads through, says, yes, you have these stakes, and then it's going to mint you your Hedron for them, pretty much. Cool, that's the way that works. And of course, I do encourage you to watch Dave Ferrier's video on it. He does a very good overall copy review of it. Of course, he's looked at smart contract as well, and also the audit. So cool. All right, so also you can add Hedron to your MetaMask. In other words, you don't have to add the contract. Just click this button. It will add the Hedron token into your MetaMask, so you'll be able to see it once you claim. So yeah, add the Hedron to MetaMask. Connect your wallet first. Add the Hedron to MetaMask. And then, of course, you can click claim if you want to get the 10x multiplier now. You've got 5 days left to go. And, of course, that's at 10x. If you wait past that days, the next one is 9x. So you're going to get less of a bonus per day served from all your hex stakes. So you'll have a whole list of your hex stakes if you've got multiple ones. And you have to go through individually. And that's going to cost you probably, at 30 Gwei, probably cost you about $19 to do the claim function. And you don't have to mint straight away. If you do mint, it's going to cost you another $19 at 30 Gwei. And what's the price of Gwei at the moment? Gwei is 36 at the moment, so it's going to cost you probably about $11 or something like that, maybe. Cool. All right, so that's pretty much it. There is the second feature there, create a hex stake instance. Now, we looked at this yesterday. This is where you make a new stake. You get your hex and you put it into a jar and you make a new stake. Typically, people are doing 5 stakes with this. And then, of course, that's the max period. And then they can just trade in and out of it based on the days served and a market price. You can actually buy these on OpenSea. The first one traded yesterday. That was a 5 stake for half a T-share, and it traded for $1,500, which is about right. That's about the right value for it. So that was cool. And there's a whole ton of them on OpenSea right now. You can see they're really quite cool. We looked at it yesterday. We're not going to look at that today. But if you want to check that out, that is a hex stake instance. That's the collection on OpenSea. You can go and look for that. Very cool. All right, so that's that. And, of course, let's jump over to the Hedron. This is posted by Hedge on Twitter. Wow. This is posted here. They're saying that they've got the Hedron launch, and then they've got all these stakes here. So these are people that are staked 5555. And this doesn't include the Hex Godwell. Okay, the Hex Godwell did a big stake 555. That was some time ago. So it's just the last couple of days. And of course, they're implying that the Hedron has influenced these big increases in long-term stakers. So the idea of Hedron is that you will get more people staking 555, and so they'll be able to claim the Hedron. Is kind of the idea. Also doing the stake instances, so they can trade their stakes. And of course, we have seen a lot of Hedron stakes or HSIs. These are the new ones, new stakes, not the native ones, the original ones that you're going to claim against. And of course, we've seen those in OpenSea. So a lot of people have been doing them. And of course, that has given us a little bit of a bump up there. So I do believe that is a big feature for the increase in 555-day stakes post-launch. But there was another factor that is in play. I've forgotten what it was, but there's another factor that also has an impact on that too. But I just can't remember what it is. So, but anyway, this has been very, very good. We also know that Staker app, of course, does a reward for 555-day stakes. If you haven't got Staker app, download it in the link video description. I think I've got it there. That there basically they give away about $2,300 every week the people that stake 555. So there's 2 different options now. You can do it, and obviously you get a monetary reward if you use stake wrap. So there's a couple of different options there too. It's just that they're playing as well. So cool on that, and let us jump over to the staking here. I have gone on to hex.vision, and I've filtered out just the stakes that are currently existing for 5,505 days. And of course, we get right to the end here. Basically, we've got like a million T shares in there at the moment. So pretty fascinating there. It looks like a million T shares left out there. We've got 10.7 million T shares, and we've got about a million of those sitting out at the future there from the looks of it. So 1 billion hex, so that's pretty impressive there. 1.26. So yeah, it looks pretty, if that is correct, which it looks like. Let me just go back to the T-shares here. 160, 136. So yeah, that's pretty impressive there. So pretty interesting insight there at the moment. Those are people that stake 5555. This is right at the back end, out in 2037, 2036. It's a long way away, but pretty interesting, the amount of hex stakes that are piling up here. And of course, if Hedron makes a big impact on that, that's going to make more T-shares in the future. Obviously, here's the Hex Godwell stake, this one here. And of course, that's going to be fascinating if it can actually get more people staking 5555. Obviously, with the Hedron one, you can actually trade it with the Hex stake instance. And so, yeah, pretty fascinating. All right, cool. That is some insights there. We're going to get on to Pulsechain. This is our last topic for the day. We're up to an hour and 30 minutes. Boom, 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 yeah. And of course, normally I go for an hour and 20, but I knew it was going to be longer today. That's just the way it goes. All right, so let's get into some comments here. I think I'm miles behind. Let's get in here. Charity says, so much to look forward to. I hope launch soon, says Charity. Absolutely, me too. And Mr. A says, can we spend some time on PulseX staking, potential APY? Will PulseX be on DEX for trading or work like a T-share only representing your share pool? Mr. A, we've already covered PulseX, and I kept you in the back of my mind talking about PulseX, so you might have to jump back to the end, earlier back in the live stream. We covered PulseX on that. Now, the APY, no one knows what the APY is going to be, so cannot answer that for you, but I imagine it's going to be pretty high, is my guess. That's all I can say about the APY there, Mr. A. But definitely check back when we covered PulseX on this live stream. And I did keep you in mind when I was pulling that topic in for today. Matt and Barley says, on your Hedron webpage, you can see a message, MetaMask is locked. Are we best to lock? And does that mean lock party? So no, my MetaMask is not linked. I'm not actually logged on there, Matt. So I'm not logged on to Hedron. And I don't have, if I did log on to Hedron on the test wallet, I'm only using a test wallet here. That's what I use for the videos. So not on that. Let me just why is it not working? I've got my caps lock on. That's not going to help me, is it? Right, so bam, and I don't have any stakes in this wallet, so there's no stakes. We can actually see this on the wallet here, and I've actually logged on now. We can actually see the amount minted. So we had 4.2 trillion minted on day 1 of Hedron. We had 2.8 trillion minted on day 2, day 3 2.2, day 4 1.8, and then that's where we're up to at the moment. So pretty interesting numbers there. There has been some Hedron borrowed from the looks of it. I'm not sure how that's happening, but there seems to be a little bit of borrowing there, also a little bit of burn. So I'm not sure where that's come from. I think it's from the HSI stakes. I think there's a little burn mechanism. Possibly. The big burn's going to come from people auctioning. So I didn't talk about that, but people can auction for loans that aren't repaid in time. People can bid on those stakes with their Hedron. So you could potentially pick up some Hex stakes, is the way I understand that. So that's pretty it. So this is a test wallet, doesn't have any stakes in it. If you log on, you will have your Hex stakes here down below, and of course there'll be a button on the right hand side there that says action, and you can those 2 actions will be claim and mint. So you got to do that on every single individual stake there. So if you had 5 stakes and you wanted to claim and mint them, both of them, it might cost you about $100 to do that with Gwei at about 30, 35. So take that into account. Cool. All right, let's get on to the Pulse one. I think we're almost up to date on there. Charity says staking $1,500 now, approximately 2.2 million in 15 years is better than 4101k plan, says Charity. Yeah, I like that. I think that's true. And BJM says, how do you add Hedron to MetaMask? Yes, there is. I did talk about that. The Hedron has a button here. Just click this button here, and it will open up a add token box. So here it is here. Add that one there. So hopefully you see that BGM. It's just on the platform there, right there. And Michael says, yes, locking makes it harder to hack into while you're inline. I'm going to make a 15-year stake for each child, says Charity. Nice one, Charity. And Charity, you'll be one of the very few, there won't be that many T-shares in the future then. And, of course, it's going to get much more expensive. We see that the T-share rate's at 21,000. It's only going to go up and to the right. And, of course, those are holding the Hex Godwell has 149,250 T-shares right at the end there. Charity, your children will be hanging out with the Hex Godwell out there. So nice one there, Charity. Very, very cool. And the good thing I like, Charity is also doing a good diversified portfolio, but in the winning projects, the gold standard projects. So nice one there, Charity. Thank you. We'll rewind and check, says Mr. A. Hey, you're welcome. Thought MetaMask had a lock feature. No worries. No, it's all good. I wasn't actually logged on, as I say. Smash the bell and I will give free bintang. Woohoo! Maria and Matt are going to give free bintangs. Nice. I love it. Very cool. When Pulsechain server patiently waiting. We're up to this final topic, so we're going to talk about it soon. And my MetaMask auto lock set in 5 minutes. Nice one, Michael. And thanks. Very, very cool. All right, let's get into Pulsechain. Woohoo! This is the end game. Welcome to the end game. We've got all the stones. We're about to win it. It's pretty cool. All right, so we've got obviously this is huge. And let's go back. Let's jump back into the previous time to Rackham, and let's talk about what Rackham said here in this final comment. This is an entire network, and of course, it's the first system state copy of Ethereum. This is mind blowing. And, of course, all the rich people that got rich with Genesis wallets and Ethereum, and, of course, the Hex Godwell is one of those. This is a huge opportunity for everybody right now. And, of course, the years ahead will be incredible. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And, of course, Richard has improved the gamification, the tokenomics to be the very best of the best. And this chain is going to be absolutely amazing. So this is what we're going to get. Obviously, first system state copy of Ethereum. We're going to have Pulsechain. It's going to be super fast, super cheap. And, of course, then we're also going to have the exchange. We're going to have based on Uniswap version 2 and PulseX, of course. And we're going to have the incentive token as well. So we've still got a few questions around the incentive token. Still got a few questions around PulseX. But as I argued today, I think that there is really a triple Pumpamental coming into the design that Rich has done. And it gets a lot of PulseX off the market as well as a massive buy and burn. I think that's going to be very attractive, as well as yield farming. And, of course, there'll be third-party dApps and other things as well, trying to attract people's attention with Pulse and PulseX. I always say try and hold on to it with this as much as you can onto your Pulse and PulseX. Also, try and earn a little bit more volume safely is the way I would do it. And that way, a bit more volume on your stuff, and then the price goes up. You'll be laughing yourself all the way to an early retirement or to a nice yacht or something. It's going to be amazing stuff. So pretty cool on that. And, of course, the awesome stuff, of course, is we've got an awesome exchange, awesome network. But the cool thing, of course, is through the sacrifice mechanism. And, of course, we're backing Rich Art, the visionary here, is that we're going to have the total supply from PulseX, and it will decrease over time. And, of course, that's going to be done through PulseX through the fee, 0.25% fee. And, of course, PulseX through the magical buy and burn, which is going to be, based on 0.06%. That's percentage points of the total amount. So we had $1 billion trade volume at $600,000 in buy pressure. And, of course, with staking, that's going to take a lot of people off the market from that point of view. And, of course, the PLX will go back to strong holders in the first place. So it's really good game theory there. So pretty awesome stuff. So the total amount of volume is going to go down. We're going to be on a massive chain. Obviously, it's going to be the biggest yield farm in crypto history as well, and biggest airdrop in crypto history. And, of course, everybody with the ERC20s and all the other contract types will get copied onto Pulsechain. And, of course, people will be able to use this for their benefit. Not only will this be free, but they'll then be able to use this to make more money. and that's a beautiful thing. So there's so many Pumpamentals inside this. It's amazing. And of course, Hex will also get copied over, and that will also open up new economic energy for a lot of retail people. They've found, obviously the gas fees on ETH are prohibitive to entering the Hex. It's particularly a small retail group, which is a lot of people. That's our mass virality that we want to get to. And of course, on Pulsechain, it's going to be super cheap, super fast. People are going to be able to do multiple stakes over multiple time periods, not have to worry too much about the fees, at least for many, 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 many years. So it's going to be pretty cool. The other side, of course, is that the Pulsechain will be up to 4 times faster, potentially up to 200 times faster, but depending on block sizes and stuff like that. The other thing, of course, it does pull in all the coding, does pull in all the advances on Ethereum, including the London fork. That's something that Binance Smart Chain didn't do. Remember, they were like 18 months behind, so they don't have a lot of the upgrades. So Pulsechain will be coming with most of the latest and greatest in Ethereum that potentially has more upsiders as well. So cool. Obviously, Ethereum has brought in burning mechanisms and tips and things like that. So that's potentially, lots of cool things. The other thing, of course, is that when the bridge opens, so for a day or two, you'll be able to trade PulseX for Pulse, etc. Once again, be careful with the ratios. And of course, I think generally the best strategy is to do nothing if you've already got Pulse and PulseX. But if you are wanting to get a bit of Pulse because you didn't get it through the sacrifice, and then you obviously can trade a little bit, just be careful about when you do it. And of course, that you got a day or two to do that. Then, of course, this is the major thing. So we've already talked about all the Pumpamentals, total amount of tokens at the beginning, magical buy and burns. Every other swapping feature is going to serve to prop up Pulse and PulseX and Hex, either directly or indirectly through the trading. And then on top of that, of course, the biggest airdrop in crypto history, and of course, the biggest yield farm in crypto history with the incentives are amazing, right? So you got all of that. Do you think that's amazing? That's the closed system. And then, of course, you open up the system, the bridge, and then, of course, everybody over here, potentially a few million people on the ETH chain, hundreds of thousands of yield farmers on the ETH chain, and on other chains coming over. And so it's not just ETH that's going to come over, it's a lot of other chains as well. And it's going to happen fast. The yield farmers will be over fast. The NFT traders will be over fast. It's not going to take a long time. The ramp up is going to be massive. And I think this is probably the big story. And it's really hard to flesh out because, people don't think. But a lot of the other projects, you might speculate in little projects, they might have 5,000, 10,000 people that, they might make that pump. But we're talking about hundreds of thousands to low millions here and over a certain space of time, right? No one really knows the time frame, but I think it's going to be pretty fast. And it's going to be pretty crazy to see. And when that bridge opens up, it's mad crazy. And if there was ever, as I always say, there's ever an Ethereum killer, the Richard Hart's design of Pulsechain with the first system state copy and all the superior tokenomics is going to be mad crazy, amazing. So obviously, the total amount of supply of Pulse and PulseX is limited to everyone at Sacrifice. That's you and I. And of course, all these people are going to come in. They're all going to want to get into the action. They want to buy Pulse and PulseX. So it's going to be crazy time, folks. It really is going to be good. Obviously, also Hex is there as well. That's also going to get a lot of love as everything else goes up in value. This is the savings account. Hex is a savings account, 38% APY kind of thing. Better if you stake longer than 6.2 years. But it's pretty awesome stuff there. Now, obviously, on top of the bridge is the Fiat Gateway. That's going to be a beautiful thing. And, of course, you'll be able to, instead of having to go through the bridge, maybe 7, 8, 9 steps to get your currency out, to your some profits out to pay for your mortgage or buy a new car, whatever you're going to do, you can probably, with the Fiat Gateway, just have 1 or 2 steps to get your currency out the Fiat Gateway. It's going to be pretty cool. Richard talked about that. That is in play. And, of course, also with credit card. So pretty nice. The other positive, of course, is that you have Fiat Gateway coming in. We know that crypto is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And, of course, we know that Hex and Pulsechain and that are going to make a major impact with the whole crypto market. It's going to take the market by storm. We know that's going to happen. It's just all, but it's so superior in so many ways. And, of course, it's going to take massive market share. That's basically what I'm saying. And, of course, this Fiat Gateway is going to keep growing as the technology gets better and as crypto starts to move bigger across the world, as it has been. Every time we have a move up in the markets, crypto gets bigger, more people get into the market, and we move from 1 or 2% of the world knowing about crypto being involved to 4 or 5%. It gets like that. So it's pretty cool like that. All right, and we're still early in crypto, maybe halfway through. The big threat, of course, as we talked about previously, is state governments and centralized banks trying to do programmable digital money. That is a terrible, terrible idea. because we know with programmable money, they can decide who you can buy and sell with. And of course, the decentralized crypto mutable on a blockchain is one of the best weapons to push back against that kind of tyranny, because who decides who should buy and sell? Who decides this? So this is a very important part in the fight for freedom and, of course, free trade. So very, very cool to see that play as well. Obviously, on top of that, we've talked about liquid loans. It's kind of like your lending or your banking. And, of course, that's why we've backed that so strongly on this channel, because really feel like it has a big economic chance on here. And, of course, as Pulsechain goes up, liquid loans should do really well. And it doesn't have any of the issues like high gas fees that are on Ethereum with liquidity. And liquidity has done pretty well too if you take that into account. So, but I think the volumes going through liquid loans will be massive. As the price of Pulsechain lifts up, then the amount of the loans that will lift up too. And it could potentially be very, very big DeFi on that. So once again, that's pretty cool. All right, so we've got the exchange, network, savings, and lending. Those are the key things. Obviously, there's going to be other things there like Gerardo's project with Mintra, where you got OpenSea NFTs kind of coming on there. It's kind of its own code, but that's what's coming. You got other projects like that coming over because we've got DeFi, we've got GameFi, we've got NFTs that play a pivotal role in that as well. So very, very cool. NFTs really open up the tradability and the feature enrichment that you can get in contracts. So it's pretty nice like that. Cool. And also shared ownership as well. That's another cool feature. All right. So that's kind of what's been built. That's Richard Hart's vision. And on top of that, he's got a longer roadmap, and other people are working on parts of those roadmaps too, including the Kinetics team. And then, of course, we've got the timeline. So this is the main event on the end here. So we're going to talk about this. And here we are. So this first yellow line is Pulsechain Testnet 1. And, of course, that lasted for 77 days. We're now got in the second line here in the yellow line. This is Pulsechain Testnet 2. And this has just reached 80 days. So 80 days around the world. That's what we've had to basically be patient about. 80 days around the world. We've had Pulsechain Testnet 2. And, of course, this has gone very well. There's been a few bugs picked up, and it's been enhanced with the code. So remember, this is a fork of Ethereum, but they're making certain adjustments with staking with the validators and things like that. And, of course, got to make sure that is up and running. And, of course, when they have had about 28 validators on the network validating the chain, they've been able to work out all those little issues that they had some in the programming to start off with. So they've managed to do that, particularly validators that were not operating, things like that. They've been able to pick up any issues around that. So making it really good for staking and validators and reconciling the blocks on the blockchain. So beautiful. That's the basics. We want that to work really well. And Richard has said that is working really well. On top of that, of course, we've got go.hex. That's been ticked. It's done. So we've shown it on this channel. Uniswap front end is done. Tick. And of course, PulseX, we've seen snapshots of that. Tick. And of course, that's probably in final phases. And then the bridge, of course, is done too. And any little issues that they have around decimal places or anything, little things like that can put these things out sometime has been dealt with. So pretty cool. We actually picked up a little issue on a live stream when we did one with one of the peers, and of course, that's probably been fixed by now. Cool. So that's going really well. And of course, we're waiting for the end of this one, 80 days. It's 3 days longer than Pulsechain Testnet 1. We're waiting for Pulsechain Testnet 2. I have adjusted this timeline. So this is now obviously moved out. I've moved it out here. And let me just pull up the actual time frame I've got on this. So I've actually got the beginning of Pulsechain Testnet 3. Now I've moved it to the 9th of March. Now, this is at the end of the Hexpo. Richard Hart is going to be at the Hexpo conference. So we're going to pick that up now, actually, because I didn't pull it up. But we've got Richard Hart is going to be the Expo conference. Now, there's going to be 600 people there in Las Vegas. It looks like a huge event. This is really stepping up. Hex is every year that Hex grows, it's just getting more mature, bigger events and better. And, of course, big shout out to Matty Allen for organizing this stuff. Really is a trooper. In there. So Richard put out 11 hours ago. We'll be at the Hex conference late March 7th through to March the 9th. So what a good time to possibly launch the Testnet 3. So this is making it more likely, from my point of view, the Testnet 3 might be launched during that time, either at the beginning, in the middle, or somewhere like that. So this is probably a good time. I think they probably had enough time on the Testnet 2, but that's my speculation. But I give it about 80 days. It's probably a good time. So let's see whether it happens. This would be perfect to do the launch. And of course, there's also going to be the racing car is going to be racing as well at Las Vegas. So it's a perfect time to do it. Plenty of hype. And of course, he's going to be doing 20 interview slots open. Grab them if you can. And of course, the documentary, The Highest of Stakes, is going to be there as well, filming for more content. So pretty awesome. So great to see Richard Hart going to be there. Fantastic. So that's going good there, folks. And so this is where we don't know when this is going to start. So it's a question mark. But I've still got it running for 2 weeks. And I've got it running from the 9th of March through to, which is at the end of the Hexpo, the last day, through to the 22nd of March, which means we're pushing out the dates now. As we said, as we get information, as the testnet 2 goes longer, we have to push out testnet 3. Richard has still said there's going to be a testnet 3 in this most recent video, as well as on previous dates, the 16th of December and 6th of February. So that's still expected. It's not just seen as a disguise for a sudden launch, but it should probably more likely we've got the AMM bot to run, and of course PulseX incentive to work on there in its fullness, and of course have a nice dry run on Pulsechain testnet 3 as a dress rehearsal for Pulsechain going live, which seems like a reasonable thing, a good thing to do. So still expecting that as well. Obviously, we've got the Hexpo coming on in the 6th to 9th of over 600 people. It's going to be mad crazy. They've got so much good stuff there, red carpet stuff and all the rest of it. And we've got Hex Scale here. This is the other topic, of course. We covered that, Hex Investment Trust, the PPM, the private placement. That's what that's called, private placement. And of course, they've got accept dollars and stake 555. They're going to go private and then public. And of course, private is going to raise a lot of money. That's going to be a lot of buying pressure for Hex by itself. And they go public, and that's another next level upwards, right? You're talking about probably Hex being in the dollars by then, for sure. So pretty bullish. Funding Jim's obviously still doing his stuff behind the scene, and there's also an unknown private investment vehicle Richard talked about on the 10th of January. We don't know much about, at least I don't. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, that because we've got Pulsechain pushing out to the 22nd, I've now pushed out the mainnet at the earliest date. So the earliest date from the 24th of March now is now at the 29th of March. So we're almost in April, folks. And so April is probably more probable. But the earliest date I've got is at the 29th of March. So we're pretty much into April at this stage. So if all that bodes well. So that's all the information we have at the moment. Very, very cool. Obviously, we've got the Las Vegas race on the 5th with the Expo car. Good branding opportunity, big audiences there. And of course, Talladega on the 24th of April. That's a huge crowd, as I understand it. So that's on the 24th. So lots of nice branding stuff there too. Highest of Stakes, of course, is in the blue line. That's going to continue on, and they're currently estimated at January 23, but I think they're probably a good chance to pull it into Q4 2022 this year, is my guess, especially with the extra funding from the Hex God whale and from Overwatch, which are two biggest whales there as well. So pretty cool. So that's kind of the launch time, earliest time at the moment, 29th of March. But it's probably going to fall into April at this stage, depending. And if we're assuming that Pulsechain testnet is as short, we interpret Richard Hart short as being 2 weeks, but it could be longer. So we'll just have to be patient with that. But that's everything at the moment, folks. Cool. And I hope you guys enjoyed that for sure. And it's great to see that Richard Hart's going to be at the conference there on March at the Expo with 600 Hexkins. It's going to be crazy. That's the biggest gathering so far. And it really is. It's probably about twice the size as last year as well. So pretty awesome. All right, nice. Let's jump back to the Hex price there, and we'll pull that in as we sort of head towards the end. We're at 13.1 cents, so market's definitely sold off. We haven't had a green candle during this hour, but let's go to the hourly there, and we'll scroll that up as well. Bam. We'll get rid of all the support structure and pull it up. Bam. And cool. All right. So that's where we're traveling at the moment. So a bit of that first sell that we had, 7 million Hex or so, sort of made a negative thing, and now we're down at 13.1. So we'll see where we're at the moment. Let's get into the poll, and we'll just end the poll up here as well. We've got 111 votes. Awesome stuff, folks. Thanks very much, everybody. That's awesome stuff. And of course, let's see what the poll results are. We're going to end that poll, and that's going to show up in the chat. Let's jump up to the top here. I'm going to get into the comments to wrap up after we talk about the poll. That's where we're at the stage. So do you think it's time to accumulate by Hex for Pulsechain and PulseX? And plus you're getting a PRC copy. Yes, 13 to 14 cents. So we're at 13.14 cents at the moment. So at the bottom of that range. Now that's 58% of people. So people kind of think that maybe now is the lowest price. We might hit 13 cents. And of course, wait for 8 cents is 21%. People think we're really going to actually crash quite a bit. I see 8 cents is quite far down. And then wait for 12 cents is 99%. Yeah, so 8 cents would be like a 80, what I say, about an 86% correction. That's quite severe. Wait for 12 cents, 9%, and wait for 10 cents, 9%. So yeah, I think my personal self is that 12 cents. If we don't hold at 13, 12 is kind of the support there. It'll be fascinating to see that happen as well. You never know, the market might do a flash crash on us, and that could create some opportunities as well. So we're gonna have to wait and see. But a good poll as well. So feeling good about 13, 14 cents, even though we've got a few hourlies there. All right, John's in the house says, smash the like where you do I claim my free bintang. Yeah, nice one. That's to Matt. Matt, look what you've asked for, Matt. You've asked for a lot of, you have to have a spreadsheet now and keep track of all these bintang pairs that you're going to owe you and Maria. But that'll be fun. Matt says, so this is locked, is only stopping others from accessing. We'll jump through some of that. Matt says 53 likes, 80 watching, not many free bintangs going out today. Come on, people, support the channel. Like. Yeah. So subscribe. Hey, we just hit 12.88 cents. Oh, just hit 12.88 cents. Someone just sold down some. Let's get out of there. Let's get, this is no bintang bears for this person. What do we get here? Yeah, so we just had a little run there. So we're sitting at just $2,000 too. That's pretty weak. So that's funny on the liquidity there. That's crazy. All right. Anyway, that's where we're at there. All right. So let's jump over to Matt says, cool. Charity says, skipping those ETH fees is going to be pretty sweet. They haven't heard. They will. I agree with you. Got the fires as well. Obviously, with the delay between Pulsechain launching, the market can do certain things. So that's what it's doing. We were in that quiet phase. That's markets typically do a bit of a sell-off. Matt and Bali says, can we do a MetaMask tutorial later? When we add Pulsechain, it would be awesome to do FAQ on that. I have so many questions. Add Pulsechain. I have, okay, I've done a tutorial on that, but I haven't actually shown the MetaMask, so I might have to do that as a pre-recorded video, Matt. So I might look at doing that because it doesn't show up when I do use this particular streaming service. Can't wait till I see the Hex 8 to moment machine as it stops. Absolutely. So obviously the price at 12.88 cents at the moment means that you can buy more Hex. So obviously that's cool. Matt and Barley says it's coming. It's coming. What else we got going? And we've got lots of emojis from Craig and Brownie. Nice. Brownie says another awesome show. Thanks, Superman. You're welcome. And what's up, Hexkin? Says Tintop. Hey, Tintop. Good to see you in the chat. And hey, Tintop, welcome. Of course, you're the latest member of the channel. I forgot to say this the other day, so a big shout out to Tintop as the latest Hex Token channel member. Very, very cool. Welcome, Tintop. And Tintop says dry powder. Yeah, if you got some dry powder, looking out for some Hex opportunities, because when the market does go back up, when it does do a reversal, you'll be sitting pretty there. And of course, people will want to get a copy on the Pulsechain. If you're selling down out of X and you don't have a copy, when it does happen, you know people will regret that. Little Rich says, good nights, all good stuff tonight. Keep us informed, all informed. Hey, Richard, no problem. We're going to end up now. I think we're ready to go. How we're an hour and almost 2 hours, an hour 57. This is, I think, my third or second longest live stream. Pretty awesome. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let us check out here. Thanks for watching. Now, if you're after any of the links, I think I got most of the links in the video description. And so check that out as well. Thanks for watching. Bam. And let's put out, if you're a Hex Token channel member, and let's emoji this thing out as we end up the live stream. I'm going to post a couple here. Let's put on rockets and a few woohoo-hoo-hoos. All right. Looking good. Bam. Nice stuff. Hey, to all the moderators, thank you very much for your service with those Russian bots. And to Hex Token channel members, big thanks for your support as we keep promoting Pulsechain X and PulseX well into the future. And to all the subscribers, I really do appreciate it. And of course, I'm your host, Superman. I wish you all a really, really great day. And man, things a good price opportunity at the moment. And of course, things are only going to get better, folks. Only going to get better. It is coming. It is coming for sure. And what's coming? This is coming, folks. This is coming. All right, let's have a look at a few of the comments on the way out. Charity says, thank you. Thumbs up from Vinrex. And we've got lots of emojis. Peace, says Brennan. Thanks. Hex Token Superman. It's now. Fish Tank says, good vibes and peace and Bintang beers from Matt and Maria, no doubt. Killer Craig says, if we want to buy a large amount of Hex, should we wait for Pulsechain? You probably, if you want to buy Hex on Pulsechain, you will. Otherwise, you just never know when the price is going to go up, Killer Craig, because it's going to be, there's pretty good prices at the moment for Hex at this stage. Cool. Take care, everybody. Thanks very much, and I will catch you in the next one.